I shouldn't have eaten that whole brownie. I think I'm going to pay for it over the course of this evening. Hello, everybody. This is the sound check portion of the show. Let us know how we sound. Dave, once you're done taking your pills, say something.
Something.
All right. Let us know how we sound, and we will get started here in just a moment.
My vitamin M I was just taking, like you
Always
do.
Well, I don't do that anymore. Apparently, pretty much all painkillers are not good for the liver.
Well,
And when you have liver disease,
Listen.
Sounds fine or sounds good? Fine. See, when a woman says something's fine, it's like, that's fine.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
It's
so
never a good thing.
So we need some clicks or something here.
Yeah, we want it to sound good.
Yeah.
Or better than good. We need above average would be.
It's a start.
General Kenobi. Yes. It's fine.
Okay.
That doesn't help. Saying it louder does not make it better.
Yeah, in all caps. Like,
Yeah, that's just not. No, that does not
in
make
fact,
it better.
I think you're just proving our point. With
Yes,
that,
exactly.
At that point.
Sounds gooder. Thank you.
Gooder. Can always count on Dragon Buddy
Yes.
to give us a very eloquent
We don't need
piece of feedback.
not clicks cubed. It's fine. No, there's no fines. God damn it. I'm not saying AIDS in caps.
AIDS.
AIDS.
And we have lots of AIDS over here. I don't know how well you can see them on camera, but I got this massive stack of CDs that we'll be talking about today. Just a little preview of some of the stuff we're going to be talking about.
Don't God with the squeaking.
What, did that bother you?
Yes.
Oh, you're funny.
No, I've got. It's fine, whatever you want. Yeah. Oh God. See, these are the words. These are the words that are definitely not fine.
Yeah. Well, see, now you know what's going to happen is that's all they're going to say for the rest of the podcast for as long as we're doing this.
It's fine.
Whenever we do a sound check, it's
fine.
fine. Yeah.
Or. Damn it.
Are you all right?
No. Everything's out of position. Like there's. God. I don't know.
You gonna make it?
It's been violated over here. I don't know.
Well, that is true. It's been a while since you've sat in that seat.
It's been a while. And they don't want any of the fries when you order. Exactly. Yeah, no fries. Because they're going to have some of your fries. So that's why you get a large.
Yeah.
So, or you luck out and your wife's on her diet that she doesn't eat any carbs.
Mm-hmm.
So you get
That's
all the
great
fries.
when all you eat is carbs. So.
Right. Exactly. It's not all I eat.
I was just saying.
I definitely enjoy some carbs, though.
They're the best.
Carbs are delicioso.
Yes. Yes, they are.
I like how Dragon Buddy is getting himself in trouble in the chat.
Yeah. When she's
Perfect.
probably like within arm's reach of him.
Easily. Like if there's Nerf guns in the house, like this is when it goes down. It is about to go down.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of about to go down, it's almost time to start.
Yeah. Ow.
Are you okay?
Yeah. We're gonna do it.
Then. Okay.
He's within arm's reach. Take off his shoe. You are Italian. He's gonna take off his shoe and hit him with it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Fuck! I forgot my iPad. God damn it! All the hell. God, I'm such an idiot.
You gonna go get your iPad?
No, it's fine. I'll survive.
What do you need it for?
I like to have the notes right there.
Okay.
Still, I don't like looking up there. I like having it right here.
Hey, look, you see how my setup is. 3 screens. I'd have more if it could somehow.
Yeah.
Technically, I guess I got 4. But I also don't want to look all the way up there for the notes.
Yeah.
Realistically, why did we have the notes up
I
there?
don't know. It sounded like a good idea at the time.
I like having this screen up there, but I think it should be something
else.
We could make the notes bigger, and we'd actually be able to see them. I think that's what it is.
I can do.
If we make the notes like more readable, enhance.
Oh, is it control?
Enhance. Yes, it's
There you go.
enhance.
How's that? Bigger?
I mean, it's better.
I mean, do you want it bigger?
That's what she said. Probably.
I'm not going to go there.
All right. Well, yeah, that should be fine.
This is exhilarating for the audience.
All right,
sure.
and it's 5:31. Now we're late. God damn it, Jason! See what you did.
I'm the worst.
All right.
All right.
We are. Oh, you know what else is the worst? I forgot to change the Red 5 logo. Damn it!
It's not the end of the world.
Son of a bitch!
You know
All
what?
right.
We're still part of the Red 5 network, no matter which logo we use on our
are
YouTube stream.
You ready?
Yeah, fuck it.
1, 2, 3, go.
To Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Clink.
Clinky.
Yeah, we're recording this on MLK Day. Also now Betty White Day, apparently. Today would have been her 100th birthday. Rest in peace, Betty White. So, good times all around. All right, well, that being said, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sidebar Cantina, the podcast where we talk about Star Wars, pop culture, the Bee Gees, or whatever the fuck we feel like talking about. I'm Mr. Jason Roskam. With me here each and every single week, the Robin to my Barry Gibb, Dave Martin. Dave, do you have anything to add?
No.
All right. And what are we talking about today, Dave?
We are doing the music of 1992
Yes.
today. And usually I'd have some fucking nonsense to say to throw us off topic, but there's a lot to talk about with the music of 92.
Yes. It's all over the fucking place.
Yeah, it is. It's all over the place, and we're going to need it all the time that we are allotted. Which, are we allotted time?
I mean,
We're limited in hard drive space at some point.
hard drive space and angry wives. Those are really our limiting factors.
Factually correct. Yeah. So we need to get to it as expeditiously as possible.
Yes. All right. So that being said, we've got some business to take care of.
We do indeed.
First of all, huge shout out to all of our patrons on Patreon. And what is our Patreon, Dave?
I have no fucking idea.
Patreon.com/thesidebarcantina. And
there you go.
Huge thanks to our patrons, Shotgun Mark, Frank Kulovich, Ivo G, Scott and Kim Rasmussen, Kristen Roskam, Nick, a.k.a. Big Swede, Engineered Perspective, a.k.a. Vickers, and Frederick Martin. Thank you so much for your support. You are the reason why we do this. And as part of our Patreon program, we're allowing our patrons to vote on what our January 31st topic is 2 weeks from now. The first poll ended, and they decided that we were going to do a normal movie. So now we're trying to further refine that, and I've given some more options, either an old movie, a modern movie, a Star Wars movie. I think I gave another option. And it looks like people want us to do another old movie, possibly tied to an anniversary. So that's leading right now in the votes. But if you do support us on Patreon, you can go and vote and help decide our show topic. Sorry, derailed by the chat, as per usual.
As usual.
So, again, thank you for supporting us on Patreon. And Dave, what do you got for us, Red 5-wise?
We want to shout out the Backyard TARDIS, who reviewed several of our episodes on BYT Random Thoughts Podcast number 11. Also, shout out to Chuck Fisher, a.k.a. Joker Voice, for his kind words at the beginning of Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 3, Mr. J's Funhouse.
Yeah, and he's got a very unique YouTube channel, so you should definitely go subscribe to him on YouTube and check out his videos.
Absolutely. You can find Backyard TARDIS and Joker Voice on YouTube, giving them a sub. And a third shout out to Alan from the Press Play Streaming Studios for our amazing intro. And compliments to the compliments continue to pour in. We love it. For some reason, this is at a weird distance where I can't read it. So it's like, I need to move it closer, I guess.
Do you need new glasses, Dave?
Yes, I need new glasses or new eyes or a new brain. Probably all the above.
If he only had a brain.
But thanks to all our Red 5 family for all the shout outs. We love it. And we'll have we will soon have a new podcast addition to the Red 5 Network. And the announcement is coming this week. Stay tuned to our socials. More to follow at the end of the show. Hopefully I'll be able to read better at the end of the show.
Fantastic. So we do a segment on the show every week called This or That, where our social media director, Luna Girl, puts up a poll on our Instagram. And what is our Instagram, Dave?
At the Sidebar Cantina.
That's right. And she gives you 2 options, and you pick an option, and we go over the results here on the show. Every week, the This or That typically flows with the theme and obviously the music of 1992. So this is a good one. I'm looking forward to this. This first one, right off the bat, too, is great because just before we went live.
What?
So distracted. Just before we went live today, we were comparing CDs because...
Yes, CDs, Jason.
No, we have visual aids here in the studio. I have a bunch of my old CDs from 1992. Dave has his CD binder with him, and we were going through them, and one of the CDs that Dave has is the Eric Clapton Unplugged album. Yes. Whereas one of the CDs that I have here is REM's Automatic for the People. And wouldn't you know it, the first question is, what is your favorite calm album to chill to? The Eric Clapton Unplugged or REM's Automatic for the People? I wonder what we picked.
Unplugged. It was Eric Clapton Unplugged.
Yeah, and I was REM's Automatic for the People. But Clapton won pretty handily, 70% to 30%. And we're going to get into, all the stuff that he released that year. So we'll get into details. This song got you on the dance floor every time. Either Sir Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back or Rump Shaker.
Baby Got Back.
Yeah.
I mean, they both have their place for getting on the dance floor.
Indeed.
And getting down with it. Mm-hmm. But,
you can't say jiggy with it because we're still like 4 years removed from that. So, or 5 years. No, 7 years.
I don't understand the reference.
Will Smith getting jiggy with it.
That was
get jiggy with it.
That's happened more than 7 years ago.
No, I'm talking 7 years from 1992.
Oh,
because again, right now we're 30 years in the past. Right now we're in 1992.
I see what you're doing.
Yes.
Okay.
Baby Got Back won 94% to 6%. Soundtrack of your 1992. We had Wayne's World.
Winner
versus The Bodyguard. I think for us as dudes, Gen Xers, Wayne's World, no doubt.
This should not have.
What
I want to know the percentages right now.
It was Wayne's World, 88% to 12%.
To 12%.
Well, you got to remember, dude, that soundtrack and specifically the song "I Will Always Love You" was fucking huge that year.
I mean,
whether or not you liked it is irrelevant. It was fucking huge.
I think it what was it last week or a couple of weeks ago, or it might have even been the last music podcast we did. But it was. I talked about The Bodyguard and how I actually enjoyed the movie.
It wasn't bad.
The song though got played to obnoxiousness, obviously.
Oh yeah, and that happened with a lot of songs that we're going to talk about.
Yeah,
for this year.
But the Wayne's World. I mean, Christ, this was this. And I wish I still had my Wayne's World hat because I had the fucking.
Oh, you
hat.
did?
Oh fuck yeah, dude!
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh yeah. And we're going to be. This is the 30th anniversary of Wayne's World too.
Yeah, so
we're going to be doing that here real soon.
Yeah, I think it's in February, right?
Excuse me.
We're doing that.
Yeah.
So, hang on, I have our schedule right here. Yes, our February 14th episode.
Woo!
is going to be the Wayne's World 30th anniversary. So we're going to taper a lot of Wayne's World talk. We're going to just stick specifically to a couple of the songs from the soundtrack for this episode.
No stairway.
Denied. All right, next question. Oh God, I fucking knew this was going to come up in doing the research for this. Which song made you literally jump? Was it Jump from Crisscross or Jump Around from House of Pain?
House of Pain.
I skipped this one.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't mind a House of Pain
I
version.
chose not to participate.
Nice.
So.
I don't... The Crisscross version made me want to...
I have things to say about Crisscross, and
can we talk about it later?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll save that for later.
Yeah. Oh, God, I don't even want to. Sorry. It just makes me angry.
Do you want to take your pants off and put them on backwards?
No, I don't now. I didn't in 1992. Oh, Serenity now. All right. Now this is a good one. This was tough too. Like I think I'm that dude with the two buttons, the meme, the guy who's like sweating trying to pick the two. Break out your flannels and your ripped jeans. This was your jam. Either the Alice in Chains album, Dirt, or Stone Temple Pilots, Core.
That was a tough one.
Yeah.
I went with Core.
I went with Dirt.
Did you?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about both of these albums.
Yeah, because Rooster was...
Yeah.
That was my jam back in the day.
Yeah, we're going to... These are... I'm absolutely certain we're going to be talking about these albums later.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And Alice in Chains won 63% to 37%.
That sounds about right.
Yep. So that was this week's This or That.
Dragon Buddy says this was an affront to music putting these against each other.
But I mean, yeah, it makes you choose, and
Yeah.
you got to really think about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it was a good question. I like that one far better than the jump question.
Jump.
Just stop.
Jump.
Are we ready to move into our week?
Jump.
Can we jump into our week?
Yes, let's jump into our week.
All right. So for me, COVID has struck again. Kristen was sick a little over a week ago now. I know I mentioned it very briefly on the show last week. She was bedridden for a couple of days. It just seemed like a really bad cold, but it was enough to where she's like, all right, let me go get a test. She took 2 different tests. One was a typical like swab into the brain, and another one was where she spit in a jar. And 2 different companies, 2 different types of tests, both came back COVID positive. So we had COVID once again in our household.
Yep.
For the second time in 2 years? Yeah, something like that. But either way.
The good news is that this time, like, because I've now had it twice, but the second time I didn't get it from you and you didn't get it from me. So,
right.
So at least we have that.
True. We can't blame each other.
Facts.
But yeah, she was down for a couple of days, but it was definitely not like when we had it the first time. And I never got sick. So I think there was one moment like on Friday morning where I had like a slight sore throat, but it never manifested into anything. So I guess my immune system's working plus vaccine. I got the triple protection between the 2 shots and having the virus in the first place. So
I have all that and boosted.
Yeah. So. Well, that's the thing. Kristen had the vaccine and was boosted, and she still got sick.
Yeah.
So it feels like it's a crapshoot,
It is. I had the same encounter. Like, I had the vaccines and boosted and got a real bad, head cold. It didn't lay me out necessarily. I mean, I was still good enough where I drove from fucking Ohio. Made it all the way home. I felt like shit, but I was still able to, function.
Sure.
But the Vidco will make you jump.
So anyway, I've been playing a lot of Battlefront 2015 lately. We've been talking about it.
You keep fucking getting on there without telling me you're going to get on there.
Oh, well, I thought you were too busy with your Call of Duty shit.
Wanker.
Anyway, so one thing that I decided to start doing was knocking out some of the Hutt contracts. So for people who aren't familiar with the game, you get these things called Hutt contracts, which you do certain things. Like, just for instance, one of the ones I was working on is you have to get 15 kills with a Deoxys Grenade. And you get that, and then it unlocks like some bigger power-up. And there's a shitload of them. And there are some that are really hard to do. Like, I did all the easy ones years ago when we were playing, like, all the fucking time. But I had some that were sitting around that took a little bit more effort. The Deoxys Grenade being probably the most difficult one. That's one where I legit thought I was never going to finish that one because it's hard to get a kill with that thing because it's not like a fucking grenade if you think in the terms of a shooter. It's not a grenade that you throw it and it just immediately explodes. You throw it, it eventually lands, and then eventually starts a Deoxys cloud that comes out from outside of it.
Right.
And that doesn't do lethal damage unless somebody is just standing in it for like 1 or 2 seconds. So it's very hard to get a killing blow with a Deoxys grenade.
Yeah, you have to soften them.
Yeah, you have to soften them. You have to throw it just at the right time. And yeah, it took me quite a bit of time and effort, but I fucking did it. I got my 15 kills with the Deoxys grenade. I unlocked that Hutt contract, and now I'm pretty much done with Hutt contracts that I can finish in just blast mode. Everything else that I have is I have like 4 more contracts left. You have to do them in like different game modes. You have to get specific kills with specific characters.
Yeah, those are the ones. Those are the only ones I have left.
Right.
Like,
and that's all I have now too.
I like really tough time with like get this many kills with Layla.
Yeah.
Like doing it. I'm just like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't like being in the third person.
Right.
And I'd rather it's just not. I'd rather be challenged doing. I like the challenge of doing the Hutt contracts with a particular weapon.
Sure,
because it brings an extra layer of challenge to the game. Which again, we're talking about a game that it's 6 years old. No, fuck, 7 years old. This game is,
but it's still fantastic.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've been doing that. Kristen and I have been watching all of the Scream movies over the last week because the new Scream movie just came out this last weekend.
Right.
Her and I have tickets to go see it tomorrow night.
Nice.
And in anticipation of this, we watched all of the Scream movies over the last week. She had never seen the 4th Scream movie, but she hadn't seen the 2nd or 3rd in a long time either, so we decided to just watch them all. And yeah, it was fun. It was a good way to spend some quality time together. And again, I've mentioned it on the show before. And when Kristen was here as the co-host once a few weeks ago, we talked about our history with the Scream movies and how that was our first date.
Right.
Was seeing the first Scream in theaters. Or no, on VHS. I rented the VHS. And
so I saw a meme that said that the Scream
no spoilers.
is like the Spider-Man. Like, it has the same kind of they equated it to being good, like how people said the Spider-Man movie is good. Like this Scream movie is good, like that.
Okay.
That's I'm butchering that terribly. I haven't seen either movie, obviously, so but it was just like, you know, like, oh, the new Scream movie is to the Scream franchise like the newest Spider-Man movie is to the Spider-Man franchise. You know,
Okay.
Making a favorable comparison.
That makes a little more sense. All right. I read you.
It took me an extra.
But yeah, I've been trying to avoid spoilers up to this point, so I haven't been looking at anything Scream related. And that's really it for my week. I had a lot of days off from work, but I spent it again mostly playing Battlefront, watching movies with Kristen, and just kind of relaxing, chillaxing, as they say.
That's not a bad place to be.
No,
it really isn't.
Yeah. So, what about you? What you been up to?
Every fucking week I struggle. I sit here and struggle. What the fuck happened this week?
That's why I'm actually starting to do notes earlier and earlier in the week now.
That makes sense.
Because I'm like, I have thoughts in my head that I know are going to be gone by the time we record on Mondays. So let me write them down now.
It 100% makes sense. And you know what's really funny is a lot of times I'll go into my notepad and actually put something in my phone. I'll forget it. I'll forget that I did that. Then later on, I'll like scroll through. I'll be scrolling through my notes and I'm like, oh shit, that was for the show.
Right.
Completely fucking lose it. No, this weekend we had a little get together, like real like only a handful of people because of the COVID thing. My wife's nephew is leaving for the Navy. He actually is shipping out a little bit early.
Yeah.
So he's heading out to Navy basic training. So we had a little get together for that, and he's going to do great. He's got a great personality, right? He's just a real affable kid. He's gonna do well. He'll adapt really well.
Excellent.
And it's the Navy. I mean, how hard can it be, right? It's Navy basic training. I mean, come on. But I mean.
Yeah, I can't imagine it being that difficult, but just Navy life in general, I don't know why people do it.
Education.
Yeah.
I mean, anyway. So I said, here, there's three things. I told him there's three things you need to do to survive, basic training, right? The first one is respect your chain of command, right? Because they're going to appoint people like that are your peers they're going to appoint them as leaders, and they're going to test you. They're going to see like, okay, here's this peer leader. And then you're going to have somebody else, and they're going to make sure that whatever something comes up, that you're using this appropriate chain of command to get you used to that.
Sure.
So make sure you understand what your chain of command is and respect that. The second thing was...
Never say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.
The second thing is... what was the second thing?
God yes, I derailed him. Woo!
No, I lost the second thing before you even derailed me. The third, well, I forget what the second thing I said was. It'll come to me here in a second. But the third thing I'd said was, there's this logical fallacy that people say where everyone says like, don't volunteer for anything.
Oh yeah,
right?
They say that in the Air Force all the time.
Don't volunteer for anything, right? And it's complete horseshit because when you just fucking sit there and you're like, I'm not volunteering for anything, right? Because, I'm going to volunteer for something and I'm going to have to go do something that is going to suck, right? The reality is, if you're one of the first people to volunteer, the chances are you're going to go do something that isn't nearly as bad as what the rest of you are going to be doing while that person's off doing whatever it is you volunteered to do.
Oh, yeah.
And you're also going to be seen as somebody that's like, hey, I'm not afraid to step up, do what needs to be done, that type of thing. It's not brown nosing or anything like that. It's just, hey, we need volunteers. I'll go.
Yeah.
Perfect. This is what this is. So don't just sit there and don't listen to these fuckers, these old crusty fuckers that say some shit like that. Because guess what? Nobody is as old and as crusty as I am with fucking, a quarter century of military experience. I'm telling you, be that person. Be the first person to volunteer, because you're going to be better off than the person who doesn't. And that person is going to get voluntold to do something, and they're going to hate it. They're going to fucking hate life.
Yep.
I still can't remember what the fucking second thing was. God damn it. Anyway, I gave him three things. That was, he'll go off and he'll go and do good things. But I had to leave early, right? Cue the rest of the Apple rant here.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I had to leave early. I had an appointment over in Philly to get my phone fixed. Now, I talked about this last week.
The camera problem.
Yeah, the camera issue where the fucking my iPhone decided that the camera that's installed in it is no longer an Apple product, and now I have to go take it to get fixed, right? So I made an appointment, went through, made an appointment. It's in the Best Buy in Philadelphia, was the earliest one I could get on a fucking Saturday. Like, okay, that's fine, whatever. Left the party early. Went over, and actually I was early, and so I went into the Best Buy. I'm like, tried to check in early and I couldn't. So I'm like, all right, well, let me go fart around in IKEA. Now, I know you're going to have your first IKEA experience here real soon.
Yeah, Friday.
Which you're going to have to brief everybody on when you get back. Sure. I expect a debrief on Jason's first IKEA experience.
I have no idea what to expect, but apparently it's an experience.
It is. It's fucking IKEA. So I went. I know the IKEA really well, and I still you'll get to a point when you go upstairs into IKEA, you're going upstairs to see the potential for things. When you're just downstairs, is like, I know what I want, and you'll go and find it. It's anyway, I just stayed downstairs and had a few things to look for. I couldn't, this is the kind of fucking day it was. I was there, I wanted two things out of the fucking IKEA. I wanted wall anchors, right?
Sure.
And I wanted curtain rods.
Okay.
Right? We have IKEA curtain rods already. So there are these gray curtain rods that we have. I'm like, okay, we need another set of curtain rods. Perfect, right? I'm right here by the IKEA for this fucking appointment on Columbus Boulevard. Fucking brilliant. Know exactly where they are. Walk right to them. There's usually just stacks and end caps of fucking like wall anchors and shit like that. None in the entirety of the fucking building, except for one display one that was like fused to the fucking end cap, so you couldn't get it.
Wow.
I'm like, what in the actual fuck?
Supply chain.
So I'm like, oh, fuck, whatever. I'm like, maybe I'll find some. I'm like checking each little nook and cranny because like, oh, maybe there's somebody picture frames, right? No, there's none over there.
Do they not have employees that you can just ask?
Who the fuck asks? What am I, a broad? The fuck do you think this is? Ask. Who asks?
Sorry, my mistake.
Fucking Christ. Get the fuck out of here. Ask. Anyway. You'd have a better chance of me fucking just walking out of the store, getting internet access on my fucking phone, looking on my phone, and walking back into the store than fucking asking somebody. These fucking twits with their fucking blue shirts. No, I didn't ask.
Sorry, my mistake. Continue.
Anyway, ask. So I go over to the fucking curtain rods, and the fucking gray curtain rods that I want, they don't have. They don't have in that size. They have like a fucking 10-foot long one. I don't need 10-foot long fucking curtain rods. I need like a 4-foot long one. Mm-hmm. They don't have. They have them in black. They have them in white. They have them in fucking, every which way you want except for the fucking gray. God damn it. So they're curtain rods. I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to get black ones and be done with it.
Yeah.
So I get the curtain rods. Go around the store some more, trying to find a fucking, how you doing? No, they're not there. Go, check out, going into the Best Buy. Still a little early, but I'm able to check in for my appointment. So, really, really nice, nice young girl. She's like, oh, can I help you? I was like, yeah, I have an appointment to get my phone fixed. And she's like, oh. Like, did anybody call you? It's like, no, I made this appointment like 10 days ago. She's like, well, what's wrong with it? Like, the camera, it's like, here, I'll show you. And I showed her the message that's on my phone. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, that's probably a backplane replacement. And our repair person isn't here on the weekends anymore. I'm like, so I made an appointment. To have this fixed at a location that doesn't have a repair person. Basically. And it's not her fault.
No.
I was able to be like, they're apparently, she was saying that Apple like closed stores because of like COVID. Like Apple basically closed stores. They didn't have like personnel because of COVID numbers or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, and it pushed all of this traffic onto Geek Squad, at Best Buy. Yeah. So they were getting overwhelmed, which is ironic. And then you're not going to have somebody there on the fucking weekend to fix shit. But right. I digress. So I had to stand there and I had to go into the app and fucking find another service center. And fortunately, I was able to find one within a couple of days. But usually, they're fucking 7 to 10 days just to get a fucking appointment. Mm. And there's nothing that they could do. Like, they have no internal reservation system. Like, when you go to make a warranty repair like this, you are a fucking slave to their goddamn system. Right. Like, even though I showed up to my appointment on time, I did everything I was supposed to do. You show up, and it's not like the dude had COVID and fucking had to call out. No, there was not a repair person scheduled for that fucking thing. So what exactly did they think they were going to do to the fucking phone when I showed up?
Yeah, once they realized this, they should have contacted you.
Yes. Yes. If only there was some device that they could have. If only they had a way to contact me somehow. So fucking over it. Like
I mean, it's frustrated enough when your brand new phone just like takes a shit on you.
I've never had an issue like this with an iPhone.
Yeah, me either.
Usually they're tanks. It'll have an issue because I broke it, not because of something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And when I asked her, like, what do you think would have caused this? Like, oh, well, have you dropped it or anything? Like, no, I was in the middle of using it, and it just stopped working, and then gave me this error.
Yeah,
it's just like I don't know. Like it's just fucked. Is what it is. So
probably just some sort of random weird failure in the camera.
Somebody needs a Snickers. Oh, you have no idea. Like it's. I've got a lot going on, right? I got a lot going on, and there's a lot of moving parts in my little fucking universe right now. And
you're a busy guy.
This was just too much.
Not what you needed at this point.
I just fuck you, Apple. Just make it easier. Make it easier. Like, contact a motherfucker. Like, oh, this person, you're not gonna be able to get your phone fixed. Like, if you show up to this appointment, or, hey, there's not going to be a repair person, let us get you rescheduled. Yeah. So that you're not pushing off another fucking 10 days. Because the only reason you're paying for this fucking phone is the camera. This.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason is for this fucking camera that I can't use. Because it decided that, I guess I would have... And here's a dumb question. Again, it's not this girl's fault. They have to ask dumb questions. It's Geek Squad. I get it. Like, I used to work fucking warranty service.
Mm-hmm.
I understand. It's not her fault. But why on fucking earth would I take a brand new phone, a phone that's less than a year old? It's the fucker thing has been out for a year, maybe. Why would I take this somewhere and have an aftermarket fucking camera put in it? Like, who would do that? Who would put an aftermarket camera into this fucking thing?
I don't think that's ever been done in the history of humanity.
Ever. I'm going to take a 13 Pro and I'm going to fucking put a Samsung camera in it. Because.
Right.
How about you just go get a Samsung phone? Really fucking annoying. It just really is.
And
then there was football.
Yes, there was.
And then there was football.
There was.
So my Eagles lost.
Yeah.
I knew that this was going to happen. I'm pretty sure that I called it last week. I also called the fucking Cowboys loss too. Pretty sure I called last week that they were gonna lay an egg.
Well, yeah, and actually most analysts were picking the Niners too in that game. But
they're sus. They were sus.
Yeah, but I mean, this is not one of those games where I'm going to be like dunking afterwards, like fucking Niners, yeah, because that was an embarrassing second half of that fucking football game as a Niners fan, and I'm just fucking grateful that they were able to eke out that win because they shouldn't have. Like, against a real team, they should have lost that game.
If they got to play a team like the fucking Bucks, which I don't know if the at-home audience can tell.
The sacred Brady Pops.
the sacred Pops are being inundated by Brady's right now.
Yeah.
We're up to 7. I will prevail.
I want nothing to do with this.
I will prevail.
I
don't know how though. I don't know how I can win at this point, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I'll figure something out. The Eagles game, it was just terrible. They were outmatched. They were outcoached. Jalen Hurts isn't a good football player. He's not a good quarterback.
Yeah.
He just isn't. We need something better. And that's that. And then watching the Cowboys do Cowboys things. that
might have helped a little bit.
Yeah. listen, the coaching staff, I know our FET brethren, they have, friends that are on that coaching staff, people that they know from Boise State. And I will say that the Cowboys coaching staff really needs to take a look at themselves for what happened with that loss.
Mm-hmm.
That many penalties, pre-snap penalties, things like that comes down to coaching.
Yeah.
Like, that is a direct reflection of your coaching. If I was a high school coach and those things that had been happening, especially in a playoff game, you wouldn't be a coach anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be done. You wouldn't be coaching anymore. You want to coach Pee Wee football. Like, because your reputation would be like, yeah, no, this person does not know what you're doing. So I hope that a Kellen Moore, who's probably a really good play caller, I hope he can get himself in a system and get away from Mike McCarthy, because McCarthy's a fucking slug.
Oh, yeah, he's awful. He's been awful. He just got a couple of lucky seasons because he had one of the most talented teams out there around him.
Yeah. The Cowboys losing is always a good thing. So that was the one. Stonebleed said something in there, and I'll need to come back to that.
All right, I thought you were having a stroke or something.
No, usually that's the case. But anyway, so football's over for me. Effectively, you still have some games left, and I'll watch football because football's football.
It's fun even if your team's not in the game.
Yeah, and I got 27 days till pitchers and catchers for baseball, if we even have a season, because it's still fucking lockout. So I don't even have that to look forward to. And I got over 50 days until the Big East tourney for March Madness and stuff like that, because I'm into college basketball, not the fucking NBA, because fuck the NBA. Who the fuck follows the NBA?
Like,
Who's listening to us right now that follows the NBA?
I mean, I used to be a big Lakers fan, and even when they won the thing, what was it?
The thing?
The
championship?
The World Hoop or whatever it's called. The
the World Hoop.
Like I didn't.
The World Hoop.
I didn't even pay attention.
There it is. The hoop of the world.
So yeah, no, basketball's dead. Anyway, are you done? Are we ready to move on?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So, do you need a break or anything before?
Do you have to pee? Like, are you twitchy over there?
It's the coffee.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. I had this whole mug of coffee. It's pretty much empty too.
Good grief.
So we're ready.
There are fans that follow the NBA in the chat. So good on you.
Yeah.
I'm not an NBA fan.
Indeed.
Neither is Jason.
The year was 1992. A young Jason Roskam was on the verge of getting his driver's license. Summer Dave was starting to come about. I'm sure our friends Lunar Girl and Big Swede were up in Seattle listening to the Foo Fighters back when they were underground. But the rest of us, we were all, we were listening to modern pop music. And yeah, oh, what a suite of music it was. Are you all right?
I'm still trying to figure out that timing, but okay.
So anyway, we are here to talk about the music of 1992. 30 years ago now. So all of these songs that we're about to talk about, all of these albums, we can officially say are now 30 years old. And man, there's so much to get into. And I just, first of all, want to say, Lunar Girl has been amazing with the playlists. Every time we do a music episode, she's been creating these Spotify playlists. And at some point, she's going to reveal this playlist to the masses. She likes to keep it to herself until the end. But we've had over 40 people contribute to this playlist and over 17 hours of music. So
insane.
Yeah.
That's a lot of music. 17 hours is a lot of music.
Yep.
That's good shit, though. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Now, the interesting thing about the year 1992 when it comes to music, and we talked about this before we went live, but so much of the music that got listened to this year was actually spillover from the year before. When we talked about the music of 1991, we talked about this series of albums. There's this meme that was out everywhere, and it was the stack of cassette tapes. and it was like these albums were all released within like 2 months of each other,
Right,
something like that. And it was the Metallica Black Album, both Guns N' Roses' Use Your Illusions, Nirvana's Nevermind, Pearl Jam's 10, Soundgarden, and Red Hot Chili Peppers' Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Yeah.
Like all 7 of those albums were released within just weeks of each other. And every one of those albums spills over into 1992. So the stuff that we're going to talk about today is stuff that kind of came out in 92, but make no mistake, the influence of the year before plays heavily into this year. When you go back and you look at the top singles and all the top songs from this year, a majority of them were shit that came out before. So
yeah, and for purposes of our list too, because we were focusing on stuff that just came out in 92, it was, that was kind of my starting place, was going and looking, all right, let's look at what the hit singles were.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at some of the songs, I'm like, oh yeah, that was a song. And then but I had to research to make sure, this was the single came out.
Yes.
At this point. So
yeah, and just some examples, like let's talk about Nirvana's Nevermind, right? Came out, I think it was November of 91. Didn't really catch on with the masses until about January of 92. Because that's when the video for Smells Like Teen Spirit hit MTV, and at some point in January it hit the #1 album. But the singles for Come As You Are, Lithium, and In Bloom all came out in 92. So that kind of skews things a little bit. Even though the stuff that we're going to talk about today is 92 released, again, you get all these singles from all these albums released in 92. Guns N' Roses, November Rain, which got played to fucking death that year. Knocking on Heaven's Door, released in 92. Metallica, Nothing Else Matters.
Yep.
Wherever I May Roam, released in 92. Michael Jackson had a shitload of singles from the Black or White album, released in 92. Same with Paula Abdul and Spellbound. I put Tom Cochran's Life as a Highway, because I think we briefly talked about that in the Music of 91, but it didn't really become big until 92.
Yep. That's... yeah, I had put that in the notes. Tom Cochran "Life Is a Highway," because that was a great song.
It was, and that was one of those songs that I didn't appreciate back then. It wasn't until years later I'm like, oh, that actually was a good song.
And that song in particular, like when we were talking about the summer of '92, that me and my friend Jeff, we were. Yeah, this was our kind of like hanging out, going down the shore. Like this song was kind of one of those like fun songs that we would have. This was kind of the building of the Summer Dave personality. Like, and this was just one of those songs that was crucial to that. But I didn't really hear it until 92. I didn't even know it existed before then. Yeah,
and I'm sure a lot of people were the same way. Then this is an interesting one. We talked a little bit about Eric Clapton and Tears in Heaven specifically. That was from the soundtrack to the movie Rush. The movie Rush came out in December of 91, like December 23rd or something like that. But the soundtrack didn't come out until a few weeks later in January. So technically, that does count as a 92 album. There's everything from the Rush soundtrack to include Tears in Heaven from Eric Clapton, which... you talk about a deep fucking song. Holy shit. And like knowing the details.
All the feels.
Yeah, where that came from. So, yeah. So keep in mind, I know a lot of people who made guesses about what our top songs are. A lot of them were some of these 91 songs that were released in 91 but had singles in 92. So, sorry guys. Our lists are pretty much comprised English.
English, motherfucker.
Songs from 92.
Do you speak it?
Another thing that I have listed in here is what was old is new again.
Yeah.
This was an interesting year for older songs to have a bit of a revival. Obviously, the biggest example, fucking Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody.
Right.
Because I can tell you, from my perspective, I knew of Queen. Everybody knew We Will Rock You. Everybody knew We Are the Champions. Didn't know much else about Queen or any of their other songs until Wayne's World came out. Changed fucking everything. The Bohemian Rhapsody, the music video with them rocking out in the car. For people our age in that generation, that was it, man. That was so fucking awesome, so different, so unique. And that started this big Queen revival. Because I know me and my group of friends, we started picking up like the Queen's greatest hits albums and started listening. And I'm like, oh, that was a Queen song, and oh, okay, that's some good shit. And
Yeah, it was. It really made you like it. For me, anyway, I recognized something. Rain? Is that rain?
I thought I heard thunder for a second there, or it's just strong wind.
I think it's just wind.
Okay. Carry on.
The listening to Queen from when my parents would be listening to it, have albums and stuff like that. And then when I heard Bohemian Rhapsody, it was like, oh fuck, okay, I recognize the group for sure.
Yeah.
So like, riding, I want to ride my bicycle and all other shit. But this, like for purposes of like our top fives and shit like that, this is the ultimate top whatever. It's not included in my top 5 list, obviously, because the music that's on here, most of it's not 1992 music.
No.
So,
or the ones that are, it's like the 2 Tia Carrere songs.
Yeah.
It's them singing the Wayne's World theme.
yeah. So,
But you've also got on there, you've got Dreamweaver, which apparently the version that's on the soundtrack is a re-recorded version. Because this was the only version of Dreamweaver I ever knew, right?
right.
And one day I'm like listening to the fucking radio or something, and it comes on, and I'm like, this sounds different. It sounds weird. Why is this? What is wrong with this song? This is not the way it's supposed to sound. Come to find out, the version that's on the Wayne's World soundtrack was a re-recorded version. It's actually better, in my opinion.
Yeah, the Wayne's World soundtrack was fucking popping.
I believe you can get me through the night.
Ooh, Dreamweaver. It's like, oh god,
Yeah.
I can't wait to do that movie.
Oh yeah,
Couple weeks. We got it. A little less than a month.
Yeah, February 14th, Valentine's Day.
Woohoo! Can't wait.
Because there's nothing else important to go on that day.
Dream.
Some other things that are old that are new again. We get a bunch of remakes of songs. I Will Always Love You. One of the biggest singles of the year, the Whitney Houston song, was an old Dolly Parton song. Another MTV Unplugged joint was Mariah Carey's MTV Unplugged, where she did the remake of I'll Be There from the Jackson 5. Huge fucking song that year. And then same with the acoustic reimagining of Layla on the Eric Clapton Unplugged CD.
That's a great version.
It was good.
So honestly, that's my favorite song on that album.
Yeah.
Is Layla.
And it was really interesting too, because that was an old classic rock song from the early 70s.
Sure, yeah.
And it got a shitload of airplay. This new version of Layla on like the fucking radio, on MTV, and I was surprised by like how popular it was. Because you think about the audience, us like fucking teenage 15, 16-year-old kids, you think it's kind of surprising that we would gravitate to a song like that. But yeah, everybody seemed to love that song.
Yeah, I mean, and we're a product of our own little, our sphere of influence, right? Because,
true.
Without the internet, like really without the internet, because it really wasn't influencing what we were listening to or anything else. It was kind of, what can we get hold of in a CD? What can we steal from Columbia House? What can we, what are we getting mixtapes of and shit like that? And for something like this, that's such a good sound. Like that, the unplugged stuff just in general. I mean, the success of the unplugged albums.
Yes.
The success of Nirvana's Unplugged and Clapton's Unplugged.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like the Clapton and the Mariah Carey from this year led to what we would get with Nirvana in '94. With the Nirvana Unplugged, which was fucking brilliant.
Right.
So, these two kind of paved the way because these were so successful. They kept doing those, and you got some really good unplugged performances.
Yeah, honestly, without the like you're saying, without the Clapton one, I don't know that we even get to the Nirvana one. Like we don't get to the Stone Temple Pilots one, right? Which is one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I lost my train of thought. But anyway,
either way, both really good shit.
What the fuck? What was I thinking?
We're talking about Layla.
I don't know. Whatever. Layla's a good song. I enjoyed it.
But yeah, and this was the kind of the start of the Unplugged that we were talking about. Technically, Unplugged started in 1989, but none of us had heard of it until this year when we got these two to do it. So we can approach this in a couple of different ways. We can look at some of the higher selling albums of the year, the singles of the year, or we can start with some of my notes, go through some of my CDs.
Let's go. Let's start with some of your notes because I know you have prolific notes.
I do. So
my notes are scattered. I have a lot, but not a lot for me anyway. But they're scattered.
One of the biggest news stories, music-wise, of this year was the Guns N' Roses Metallica combined stadium tour.
Right.
This was a big fucking deal. It was announced, I think, the spring of '92, and over the summer and fall of '92, the Guns N' Roses and Metallica toured together because they were both on top of the fucking world on the heels of their albums that got released in '91 that we've talked about.
Right.
And, you know, the two biggest acts in the world at the time touring together, what could go wrong, right? And wow, like you look at the history of what happened on this fucking tour.
Yeah.
And because this is the one where I think it was in August, James Hetfield in Montreal fucking got third-degree burns because he accidentally walked into his own fucking pyro. Guns N' Roses stormed off the fucking stage later on when they tried to play, caused a massive fucking riot in Montreal. Like, it was a huge fucking ordeal. I think some people even got killed. But like millions of dollars in property damage, just fucking insane. But yeah, that was James Hetfield getting like fucking half of his body burned off, basically, which we went into it a little bit when we talked about Metallica.
We did. We spent a few minutes on that for sure. And it's funny too because I know you talked about going to that show.
Yeah,
during that tour.
Right, because I went October 3rd, the second to last date on that tour, and this was after James Hetfield got back. And he wasn't playing guitar for most of the set. He came out playing guitar for Enter Sandman for the last song that they did.
Right.
But, yeah.
It's just amazing that he could even play. It was amazing. Hey, thank God you lived through something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to go several weeks and then come back and be playing again, that's just fucking remarkable.
Yeah.
It's absolutely remarkable.
And honestly, like, I was a pretty big fan of, like, modern Metallica. And go back and listen to our Metallica album or episode of the podcast where we went in deep. But it wasn't until I saw this concert that I'm like, I got to listen to their whole fucking backlog because they rocked the fucking house. They far outshone Guns N' Roses. Like, they upstaged them big time at that fucking concert.
Guns N' Roses is overrated.
Well, they were the top billed act, though. You know,
Yeah,
they went on last.
yeah.
They were the top billed act, but Metallica blew them out of the fucking water. Just performance-wise. But yeah, that all happened in '92, that whole fucking ordeal. This was a big year for country music. So, I don't know what the climate was like out here in the East Coast. But where I came from, in Bakersfield, California, country music was always kind of a big thing. It's the home of Buck Owens, and they call it like the Nashville of the West Coast sometimes. Bakersfield, California. And that's legit. Like, I see you making a face, but no, like, look it up.
I have no frame of reference at all for country music.
Well, okay.
You could say whatever outlandish shit you can. I have no frame of reference. So I believe it.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, for the most part, up to this point, country music was pretty fringe, right? It was mostly popular in the South, and, you know, it's obviously got a certain twang to it.
Right.
But Garth Brooks hit the scene, and he was one of the first kind of breakout stars to sort of, what's the word that they use when it crosses over? He crossed over into more popular music. His CD Rope in the Wind was like the top selling album up through April of '92. And then his next CD, The Chase, which came out in October, was the top selling album for the last few months of the year. And in the middle, Billy Ray Cyrus also had a high-selling album that we'll get to at some point. I want to save that for when we get to our lists.
Fair enough.
But yeah, man, country music dominated the fucking pop charts this year. So for me, again, I was very familiar with country music. My family, friends, it was all over the place in Bakersfield, California, but it was never like a thing for me. Like, I'd have to listen to it because it's what my mom would listen to in the car, but I never sought it out. But this was the beginning of me actually starting to open up a little bit and listen to some country music, because I have a couple of country CDs in my visual aids that I have with me today. But I just felt like that was worthy of bringing up because
Sure.
I don't know if you remember, but Garth Brooks was pretty fucking big at this time.
Yeah, he was getting he was getting big, but it was not like, for me, East Coast in a major metropolitan area, country music was not really.
So, but you didn't get any of that bleed over, like no fucking like Friends in Low Places or.
Well, yeah, but I didn't really see it in '92.
Yeah.
You know, from where I was standing in 1992, I didn't really see it. Now,
Okay.
when I was older, for sure, like weddings and shit like that, you know, it's,
Yeah.
they're like opportunities for people to sing and shit like that. Sure, but up until that point, no, not really. The local country station here is like 92.1 WXCU or whatever.
Mm.
They started doing country shows. They would do like one big like festival show.
Mm.
And I know my my wife's Aunt Lynn and my mother-in-law had gone and they saw Billy Ray Cyrus actually at one of these shows, one of these festival shows. As my Aunt Lynn was, or my wife's Aunt Lynn was she was a big Billy Ray Cyrus fan and got her picture taken with him. And apparently he was super, super nice and like whatever. But yeah, the music. I posted it in the chat and this is legitimate. Like country music, I'm very eclectic with my musical tastes. I mean, you listen to this podcast for more than 5 minutes, you'll know that.
Mm.
But country music is just not something that is in my repertoire. Jimmy Buffett's probably the closest thing to country music that I'll listen to like prolifically.
Sure.
Otherwise, it's just not something that appeals to me. It's just something about the sound that just does not appeal to me.
Yeah, and I mean, I get that, like, most people probably feel that way. But every once in a while, again, you'll get a breakout crossover star, and as we get into the music, especially of, like, 93 and 94, there's going to be a lot of those with me. My country music library gets bigger as we go into subsequent years. But it quickly
as you start to fill your cowboy boots?
Yeah, I think it was 94 when I bought my cowboy boots. But that's
94.
94. But that's a story for another time. So, big year for soundtracks, obviously. We talked about Wayne's World. We talked about The Bodyguard. Here's one you may or may not remember. You remember this little show on Fox called The Heights?
No.
That had a little song attached to it? How do you talk to an angel?
Oh, God.
Is it all coming back now, Dave?
Yes. Yes, sadly.
Yeah, so Fox, this was at the height of the popularity of like Beverly Hills 90210, Melrose Place.
Mm-hmm.
Fox was really kind of making a name for itself with these sort of like teen soap opera type shows. And they thought, okay, well, The Heights is the next step in this. We've got all these other hits. The guy who's the main character in the Heights, he played a character in 90210 for a couple of seasons, so they plucked him out and gave him his own show. Not the same character, but that actor, they're like, oh, he can sing. It's going to be a show about a band. The How Do You Talk to an Angel came out, was a huge hit, got played everywhere. Show gets canceled after, I don't know, 10 episodes, something like that. Did not last very long, but it was a good song. How do you talk to an angel? No, not a fan?
Nope.
All right, fair enough. I'll throw this out there now. Kristen wanted me to make a point that she was a huge Mary J. Blige fan.
Oh, okay.
Not my cup of tea. I don't have anything against her or any of her songs. It was just kind of like, nah.
Yeah, not something I was listening to in particular. We talking about soundtracks. I think you're missing a big one. The singles soundtrack was
that 92?
That was 92.
Oh shit!
There was a lot of music off of that soundtrack.
Well, yeah, and they were really starting to get into the whole grunge thing. That was
Yep.
like Matt Dillon is a fucking grunge guy,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, it was.
Matt Dillon, Bridget Fonda.
You had Pearl Jam was on that album. You had Alice.
Oh, Eddie Vedder was in that movie too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was. What's funny is I was when I was researching, I went on my Apple Music and I'm like, all right, let me download the soundtrack because I wanted to, just to have it. And like almost half of it was like not available in this region. It said, like, what the fuck is that? And it was like random songs. It was really weird. I'm not sure.
Well, when an album or like a soundtrack like that, because it's the same with Wayne's World too. If you go into Wayne's World in Apple Music, some of the songs aren't available because if there were songs that are from a different album, like Bohemian Rhapsody, it's a Queen song. If Queen doesn't have a deal with Apple, then it's not going to be playable on that. So
but Pearl Jam obviously does.
Do they? I don't know.
Yeah, they definitely do because I have Pearl Jam on my thing. So I don't know. It was just really weird. But Singles was a soundtrack, and it was a big one, especially for the grunge movement because it was a grunge movie. It was I think if you're talking about how some people got introduced to some more mainstream grunge, this is how they did it. Yeah. Was through this movie.
Yeah. So another group that came out that made their debut was TLC in this year. Again, not my style, but you know who was my style was In Vogue. Like I was all about the In Vogue, like because I like that style of music with the vocal harmonies and everything else. Very Beach Boys like. Yeah, I love that song. And then when a year or two later, when they did What a Man with Salt and Pepper, that song was fucking awesome. Loved it. Yeah. I have that album. But so TLC came out. Did not like them. Do not like them to this day. Rest in peace, Lisa. But I mean, not my thing. But I do like an In Vogue style of lady group
because at some point it's music, right?
Yeah.
It's not cats fighting in a dumpster. It's fucking music. Yeah. And when you appreciate music, then
yes, thank you, Bronco Fate. No, you're never gonna get it. Not this time. Never ever gonna get it.
I'm loving. How to take to make a change.
Exactly. So just thought I'd bring that up. This was, Madonna was still around because she'd been around from the 80s, massive hits. She was in full whore mode in 92.
Right.
With one exception that we're going to talk about. But this was the year of erotica. This was the year that she did that sex book. I'm pretty sure this was the year of Body of Evidence. So Madonna was in like full on like naked spread eagle everywhere she could be, like full on whore mode, with the exception of This Used to Be My Playground.
Yeah.
From the soundtrack to the movie Tom Hanks.
League of Their Own.
League of Their Own. Thank you. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. I saw that in theaters. Great movie, by the way.
I love that movie. We're doing that this year. Right? Isn't that this year?
30th anniversary.
Yeah. We're doing it.
Yeah, no, but...
we're going to do it. Luna Girl. We're doing it.
Yeah, Madonna was still cranking them out, and I liked A League of Their Own, and I liked the This Used to Be My Playground song from the soundtrack. It was good. Really enjoyable. Otherwise, though, she was flashing her shit all over town like she was Sharon Stone or something.
She was a whore.
Okay. I've said this on the show many times, and I'm going to reiterate this forever.
Oh, God.
Sir Mix-a-Lot was not a one-hit wonder. Baby Got Back was not his only hit. Yes, this was one of the biggest songs of 1992. But he had plenty of albums before that.
Right.
I had Sir Mix-a-Lot albums before Baby Got Back was ever known to the masses. Okay? I can't stand whenever somebody calls him a one-hit wonder because Swass. That's all I got to say. The Swass album. Awesome.
I wish he was listening right now.
My posse's on Broadway.
I want him to know.
Me and Kid Sensation at home away from home with the black.
I want him to know that he has a dedicated fan that is going to stand there and defend him vehemently in such a manner. I applaud you for
I just take exception to when anybody calls him a one-hit wonder because of Baby Got Back, because he had plenty of albums, plenty of hits long before that. So go fuck yourselves, anybody who says that. And honestly,
I'm not sure anybody said it, but okay.
Baby Got Back is like one of my least favorite songs of his, quite frankly. Even though it was huge this year.
But
obviously.
But it's another one that, like, if you're playing it and it's a dance floor song.
Yeah.
Right?
And everybody knows it too.
Yeah.
I like big butts and I cannot lie.
Yeah.
It is very catchy. I'll give him that.
Yeah. and it's still playing. Like it's still being played now. You know, like you go to a wedding or something like that, it's still being played. So 30 years later,
it stood the test of time.
Yes,
for sure.
Whereas Swass, or how many songs off of those albums are being played still?
Probably not many.
So it's
outside of my playlist.
So it's good to have that one. So your name is still out there, which hopefully it'll drive people to your other work. But if not, then enjoy your fucking wedding DJ shit.
Yeah. So Kristen's in there bragging about how much she's in love with Mary J. Blige. You know who I really liked at the time was Vanessa Williams. She had a couple of hits in this year. The Save the Best for Last.
Was
Love
this before she got was this before the Miss America?
It was after.
It was after.
Yeah, she was Miss America like 2 or 3 years before that, and then like the nude photos leaked, and they're like, "Fuck you, you're out."
Right.
And then she's like, "All right, I'm gonna go be a singer and an actress," and she was far more successful.
They make a bunch of money.
Yeah,
and, you know, go fuck yourselves.
And she was gorgeous at this point in her career. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like I was like madly in love with her. I would watch her music videos like with a lot of focus.
More so than Mariah Carey?
At this point in 92, she was higher in my spank bank than Mariah.
Really?
Mariah was more talented.
Right.
Like she was like a better overall performer, but when it just came to the visuals, I was all about Vanessa Williams.
Spank bank. Oh, sidebar. I don't have it with me now, but my sisters came across an old little black book that I had when I was in high school.
I know.
So when we do Wayne's World, because it's some of the stuff that's in there, when we do Wayne's World, we'll bring it on.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it.
Nice.
Because there's some funny shit in there. There is.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that. So I'm definitely not hiding from it. I think Wayne's World, because there's some appropriate analogy to it. More for later.
So we got somebody in the comment. Matt Vader mentioned that 92 was a great year for metal. Yeah, we'll skip ahead to that because there was obviously I'm talking about a lot of the like poppier songs and the dance songs, which there were aplenty, but there were some really good rocks albums that year too. For me, Pantera, Vulgar Display of Power, came out. Fucking with Walk. Oh, I love that song. Mm-hmm. Awesome song. Fucking White Zombie. The La Sexorcisto, I don't even remember how you... La Sexorcisto, Volume... Devil Music Volume 1. Fucking... I mean... What was it? It was More Human Than Human was on this album, right?
I don't remember.
Oh, no, this was Thunder Kiss. More Human Than Human was in the one that came out in 94.
I think it's a later one. Thunder Kiss was one of those. It ended up getting overplayed. Honestly, for me, it ended up getting overplayed because now when I hear it, I'll hear it on like Turbo or something like that. I'm like, oh, I fucking. So
you know what
want to listen to this song.
You know what I think about when I hear that song. So at this point in '92, I was still like trying to play football in high school. So we'd have practice after school every day on the football field. Well, one of the football players started jacking into the PA system and they just start playing music. And there was a period of about 2 weeks where all they would do is they'd play fucking Thunder Kiss 65 in the massive speaker system in this fucking football stadium as we were practicing. And all it was dun 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 dun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey, you. Nice. Yeah.
Pantera would have been more appropriate, though. You would have been ready to fucking rip people's arms off and fucking stick them up their asses.
Mm-hmm. Another great fucking... You talk about, like... I wouldn't even call it, like, a straight-up hard rock album, but the Rage Against the Machine debut album? Fuck, man. This was
a good Rage album. This is probably, like, I have here... it's in my other deserving mention, but "Killing in the Name of It" off of this album is probably one of my favorite Rage Against the Machine songs.
Yeah, and just their style. You know, it's definitely like a hard rock style, but it's also, you know, got a rap hip hoppy type of vocal stylings, and like long before chumps like fucking Limp Bizkit or anybody tried to do the whole rap metal hybrid thing, Rage Against the Machine was fucking killing it back in '92, and this Yeah, this debut album, The Killing in the Name of and Freedom were two kick-ass fucking songs.
Yeah.
It's funny though because you talk about like anti-establishment, fucking rebels. That's like what their fucking songs were about, and kind of like justice and like Killing in the Name of. Like one of the lines over and over again is like, "You can't fucking tell me what to do" and all that stuff. If it was released nowadays, I don't know if it would work, because now I don't know how to say this without getting political, but now it's all like, no, just do what we tell you to do. Trust us. Just do it. Just put your mask on. Just do it. Just get your vaccine. Just don't question it. Just do it. Listen to what we say.
Well, listen, Rage Against the Machine gets a lot of airplay right now. Like, and I'm a Sirius XM guy. Like, I don't necessarily listen to terrestrial radio anymore, and like I listen to Turbo, which is all 90s and early 2000s fucking hard rock and metal. Mostly hard rock, and play a lot of Rage. And they play some good amount of stuff off of that album. Tom Morello is everywhere on Sirius XM. Like, he's on every fucking channel.
Yeah.
Like, he has so much shit going on Sirius XM, it's ridiculous. But yeah, so much. There's a lot of good shit. Luna Girl is giving you shit, saying Rage Against the Machine isn't metal.
I never said it wasn't metal. I just it's a really interesting fusion of like metal, kind of hip hoppy vocal stylings. It's just like, why does it have to be labeled anything?
Yeah, I'm not. I bring that up because I agree. The labeling of like metal, hard rock, pop, those things exist for me so I could find it easier in a record store.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
honestly, like, I don't give a rat's ass. Like, what's the difference between fucking, Pantera, if you're going to call Pantera and Alice in Chains, like if one, they're both metal, or one's hard rock and the other one's metal, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Like, just get them in an area where I can don't make me walk into a country music session to find fucking Pantera. No,
right.
Get them in a general area where I can fucking listen to things. That's what it's there for. Like, it's not to, create a social system, a class system for fucking those things. I've never been a fan of that.
Yeah, because I mean, by that rationale, fucking In Vogue's "Free Your Mind" would be a hard rock song because it's all fucking guitars and everything. It's like, come on, we don't have to get like caught up in the semantics of labeling. Just know that it's.
Yeah, I will never do that.
Yeah.
Because I'll get it wrong every time. If we played a game, it's like, hey, label this fucking music, I will get it wrong 95% of the time.
Yeah. Another rock album that came out that year, Def Leppard's Adrenalize. Def Leppard, obviously huge in the 80s. A lot of good songs. Adrenalize, it was okay. They had the song Let's Get Rocked, which was a fun song. It was a really unique music video because it was all like CG animation, but it was like 1992 CG animation, so it was.
I'll have to take.
It was very crude. I haven't watched that video in a long fucking time, but I bet it probably looks pretty terrible right now. There was one other big single on this one too. Fuck. Have you ever needed someone so bad? Yeah. No? Nothing?
Nope.
All right.
What else you got over there in that pile of goodies?
I'm looking for more rock stuff since it was brought up in the chat. And again, this is just like my own personal CD collection that I still have. Not to say that there wasn't more, because obviously we had fucking, like, from the this or that, we had Alice in Chains' Dirt, which, like I said, Rooster, man. You talk about fucking pretty good rock song from that year.
Yeah, Rooster was good. There wasn't. I think I'm going to say this, and don't castrate me for it, everyone, but there was a lot about Alice in Chains that I think got just severely overplayed that made me shy away from a lot of the music.
Oh yeah, no, that I've fallen victim to that. Just songs that got so overplayed, they could have been really good, but because they got so overplayed, it's like fucking no, stop! I never want to hear you again. Ever. Go away.
And there's a lot of that, like especially like when we start getting into 93, 94, when I had a car, right?
Oh yeah,
because I think in Jersey you can't get your license till your full-fledged license till you're 17, right? So I didn't get my license until 1993. So
wow, I got my license before you.
yeah,
Wow,
because you probably got it when you were 16.
I got it on my 16th birthday.
Yeah, I had to wait.
Wow.
And then I failed my first driver's test and I had to wait even a little bit longer. Oh, that's a whole story. That's a whole story. I'll save that for when it's time.
Okay.
But yeah, having a car and then having more like of my own access to terrestrial radio and like what I'm going to play on tapes and shit like that, it changes a lot of my listening dynamic and how I was listening to music and what I was listening to and how much I listened to one thing more than another. So at this point in 92, it was more kind of dominated by what I was listening to on like headphones or over a friend's house, because I wasn't driving.
Yeah, and I think this is a good time to mention too, even though I have all of these CDs right now, like I had gotten my first CD player, as I mentioned when we talked about our music in 91, on my birthday in December of 91 was when I got my first CD player. So a lot of the new music that I would buy, I would start to try to get more and more CDs like through 92, but I was still listening to plenty of music on cassette tapes, fucking mixtapes all over the place. So don't get it twisted with the fucking CD collection here. I was listening to more cassette tapes in 92 than I was listening to CDs, and probably more radio than either of those two. So just keep that in mind. We were still in the cassette tape era at this point. It was starting to go away, and by like 93, 94-ish is when I was mostly phasing out cassettes at this point, except for like in the car. But some kind of getting away just for like strictly rock. A couple other just songs, like ones that like made my like the top 20 songs that I listed as I was making my top 5 list that didn't make the cut. Some honorable mentions. I actually really liked Richard Marx this year. He had the song Hazard, which I actually really enjoyed. Didn't really care for much of anything else he ever did, but the couple of songs he released, specifically Hazard this year, I really enjoyed.
Okay. Okay.
Ugly Kid Joe, you remember them?
I do.
Yeah, this was the Hate Everything About You, and yeah, they were they got a lot of airplay in my
They did, and they were in a movie too. That was part of a movie soundtrack.
Well, I think a blip of that song was in Wayne's World. The Hate Everything About You, I think, but it didn't make the soundtrack, but I think it was in the movie. Pretty sure.
I don't think so.
Whatever. Then, chat, look that up for us.
I don't think so.
And I hate everything about you. Da-da-da-da.
No, it wasn't Wayne's World.
Okay. Actually, no, I'm going to save that because that was in my top 5. Or no, was it? Hold on.
So Dragon Buddy brings up Screaming Trees, and The Cure had decent albums in 92.
Those were way off of my radar. Like I couldn't even tell you what any of those songs were from that year.
Yeah, that's I'll have.
Tell us what some of the song titles were. That maybe that'll jog our memories.
Well, we can get to.
All right,
Snap. Rhythm is a Dancer.
Rhythm is a dancer. Oh, AB Logic's The Hitman that we talked about.
Yeah,
like
right before the show started.
Yeah, as I was doing research, I see this one song that was a hit in that year. I'm like, AB Logic, The Hitman. What the hell is that? Then you listen to it and it's wah, 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 watch out.
Yeah, there was this,
watch out.
This is the beginning of a phase that I guess it's not a phase if I still have it 30 years later, but kind of this techno electronica dance music that I still enjoy. Like I still kind of
Oh yeah,
get
it was
into.
very catchy. A lot of these songs are very catchy, and like as soon as you hear it, you're like, "Oh, that's what that song is."
That's my workout music. Honestly, that's my workout music. Like the pacing and everything else. And again, while I was driving, I was a fucking maniac when I drove, and I would drive to this fucking music. And if you can imagine, like, there was a song.
Oh, there was a song on the Wayne's World soundtrack that was great to drive to. I think it was the Red Hot Chili Pepper song. Because it was just like a fast fucking beat. Oh god, what the hell was it? Whatever.
I think I know what you're talking about. I can't remember it though. No, I'm talking about like there's a Speed Racer mix, right? That was who the fuck I can't think of who did it. Anyway, but that's the type of shit like this just fast pace, as fast as I could fucking drive, just absolute shenanigans.
So Chantal in the chat brought up a good point. Weird Al's "Smells Like Nirvana." So one of the songs from that album was a contender for my my top 5. Now he had the Nirvana parody, "Smells Like Nirvana," which everybody knew. But here's the thing about Weird Al, because I was still am a huge Weird Al fan.
Right.
Seen him in concert at least 3 times, and yes, he has these parody songs that are really good, but you'd be surprised when you listen to his albums, because he has original songs on all of his albums. They're not just all parodies. And some of his original songs are really good. They're funny. They're all like comedy based.
Right.
But there's one from the Off the Deep End album that was a contender for mine. It was called "When I Was Your Age," and it's basically like an old guy, like from the perspective of an old guy when I was your age, and and it's like these over the top like explanations of like,
right,
back when I was your age, we didn't have a pool. We only had our neighbor's septic tank, and just real outlandish. But I fucking love that song. Still listen to that song quite a bit to this day. So you'd be surprised how good some of Weird Al's non-parody songs are.
Oh, Weird Al just is good.
Yeah.
He's just tell me something that Weird Al did that wasn't good.
The parody of "Give It Away," the Yabba Dabba Doo song, I thought that was kind of lame.
Okay. Yeah.
Not his best work.
All right. Well, all right. That's fair. I mean, there are some swings and misses, but
yeah. But for the most part, yeah, his stuff is brilliant. He's
everything,
a funny guy.
When something is tongue in cheek like that, I mean, even when it's bad, sometimes it's just like, okay, it's bad. It's supposed to be bad.
Mm-hmm. Hey, the movie UHF was great. Both of you in the chat can just shut your holes.
Oh, the movie UHF. Again, it's all about perspective.
Mm-hmm. So
musically.
I wanted to bring up another album that came out. Wilson Phillips had their second album this year. So we all know their first album that came out, I think in like 90, which was their debut. So this was their follow-up, the Wilson Phillips, what the hell was it called? Shadows and Light.
Oh, I thought it was...
No, first of all, my favorite song on there was a song called "Give It Up." I loved the music video for that. It made me, what was that one's name?
I don't know.
It wasn't Wendy, was it? No.
I don't remember.
Wendy Wilson. Not Carney, but the other Wilson sister. Like, she was super hot in that video. Regardless, they had a song on there called "Flesh and Blood," which was about their dad, Brian Williams, of the Beach Boys, who, back in 92... didn't give a shit about the Beach Boys, didn't know anything about them outside of their couple of poppy hits, whereas over the last year, I've really kind of become this sort of like Brian Williams, like obsessive fan.
Almost as big of a fan as Bronco Fett.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Almost.
Yeah, he loves the Beach Boys. But yeah, no, I've been really going back into the history of Brian Williams. I watched that movie, Love and Mercy, which was about him and when he was under that conservatorship of that fucking psychiatrist. And now after watching that movie and going back and re-listening to this song, and they're basically singing directly to him, telling him you need to break away from this, this cycle that you're in and everything else. And now knowing the context of what the fuck they were talking about, it's crazy to think about because that psychiatrist was not letting him see his family. He couldn't see his daughters. Because it was like the Britney Spears fucking thing that was going on, where this doctor like basically dictated everything he did every day, and he would not allow him to see his family, wouldn't let him see his daughters. So but they didn't realize that. So they're writing the song is like, hey, Dad, what the fuck? And, you know, he couldn't do anything about it. Thankfully, they've completely mended fences since then. But yeah, it's some really crazy shit. And the fact that they're just like so blatantly airing out their family's kind of dirty laundry in this song. And if you watch the music video for that, there's like home movie footage of Brian Wilson playing with the girls when they're babies. And it's wild.
Yeah.
And especially now, 30 years later, having the full fucking context for that.
Yeah, in 92, 92 is when I saw the Beach Boys in concert, and Wilson Phillips was opening for them.
That's crazy.
So that was, I guess they were touring for this album.
Right,
basically
right.
Opening for the Beach Boys. And this is in 92. The Beach Boys obviously are old, right? Because, they were old then, but they still did a huge show.
Sure,
like
yeah.
It was a huge set list, and they were amazing.
Yeah, and we're only a couple years removed from Kokomo at this point too, so they had a fairly recent hit on their hands.
And this was on the beach in Wildwood, like
doesn't get any better than that.
For Dave and his friends that were down there, it was just an absolutely amazing experience. The Wilson Phillips bit was kind of an afterthought, really when it came down to the whole experience and just being able to, be there for the Beach Boys. But this is, again, an interesting side note to, like, oh, here's Wilson Phillips, here's all this shit going on with Brian Williams. They're touring with the Beach Boys. Meanwhile, their fucking father is locked away.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Now, of course, their uncles were still in the band. So, it was still had that family connection and everything.
True. But even still, like, they're out there touring and he's not. Like, he's not with them. It was just really weird. Now, again, with context, it was weird. Yeah. Just really weird.
All right. So I want to pivot a little bit to what I personally think is the biggest music news story of 1992. And I'm curious how much you even know about this, like how much it was even on your radar. And it was the Body Count album, specifically the song Cop Killer. Like, do you remember?
I have a vague recollection of this, but not any specifics.
Okay, because, Body Count was Ice-T's heavy metal band that he put together and put an album out with and was touring with. So Ice-T, the gangster rapper from fucking Compton, California,
right,
puts together this fucking heavy metal band, all black guys playing every instrument, and they were fucking awesome. I loved Body Count. And they had one track on their CD called Cop Killer. And it was basically about a guy who was like so fed up with like all the bullshit going on with the police that he just decided to go on a fucking cop killing spree. And this obviously caused a huge fucking stir, because you got to remember, we're in 1992 here. We're 30 fucking years ago.
Right.
So, I mean, the shit hit the fan. Fucking George Bush, the president at the time, the first Bush, not W,
right,
was like saying his name on national TV. I remember watching an interview with Ice-T years later and like looking back on this time in retrospect, and he's like, when the president of the United States is saying your name on national TV, you're in some deep shit. But I mean, this brought up a very interesting debate about censorship and music and expressionism, and it's shit that we're still fucking talking about today for some reason. Not necessarily in the context of music, but in like fucking podcasting and YouTubing and shit like that. It's still a huge fucking thing. And one of the more interesting things that I learned about this as I was doing research was it was released by Warner Music, Warner Brothers Music, and the entire time that they were getting all of this fallout from like the fucking president, the vice president, all these cop unions, all these conservative organizations, all putting pressure on Warner, they never once bent. They said, no, we may not agree with everything that he's saying, but we are allowing him to express himself in the way that he feels that he wants to. And we're not going to pull this fucking album. And going back and hearing that, I was fucking shocked. The problem was that they pressured enough retailers that the retailer started pulling the album. So as a compromise, they decided to cut the track from any future pressings of the album. So they released it later without the Cop Killer track, and they introduced a new track that was called Freedom of Speech. Go figure.
Yeah.
And it was really, really interesting. And I'm so shocked looking back at this time because, you know, the moral majority had a big say in what went in, you know, when it came to entertainment back then.
Yeah, because it's a couple of years from, putting labels on fucking everything that says, parental advisory.
Oh, yeah.
And shit like that.
And this goes beyond like a Democrat-Republican divide. Like, Democrats were huge into fucking censorship at the time. Fucking Al Gore's wife, Tipper Gore, was famous in the music industry because she was like so adamant against like, foul language in music and all this stuff.
Right.
And she was like the catalyst to get that fucking explicit lyrics sticker put on all these fucking albums.
Right.
So, it really wasn't like a left and right thing at the time. But like, super kudos to Time Warner for sticking to their fucking guns, even after like people were like trying to protest anything that Warner put out. This was the same year that Batman Returns came out in 92. And people were trying to boycott the movie because of the Body Count album. And even after that, Warner's like, no, we're not doing it.
And that's why I think I had heard about it.
Yeah.
It was because of the movie, because of the Batman Returns movie. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason I even knew that had come out, which is really funny because, as a Pantera, like I'm a heavy metal Pantera, shit like that, you would think I would have heard of the album. Mm-hmm. Had no visibility whatsoever.
Oh my god! Like, I know like every word to every song in this fucking
I'll have
album.
to download it.
Like, I love this album, and it's not all serious. Well, and this is the thing too, and we briefly mentioned this when we talked a little bit about like the NWA and stuff in previous episodes. Is for suburban white kids, these kinds of albums were the first, or were the only ways that we were getting some of this like experience from people who were, from the streets and had their issues with cops.
From the streets.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what better way to what better way to say it.
Oh my god.
But with basically Black America and their experience with police and poverty and everything else, this was the only way we were getting that perspective. And they go deep into it in this. Like, the Cop Killer wasn't the only fucking track on this where they kind of went into the police and police brutality and things like that. But this was like our first exposure to this and NWA and all that. But it's interesting that this was how we learned about a lot of that shit. But there was also some really good tracks on this album. There was one called KKK Bitch, where he basically tells a story about how he, starts fucking the daughter of the Grand Wizard of the KKK and then like fucking sneaks into one of their rallies. And oh, great fucking song.
I just added it to my Apple Music just so I can listen to it later.
There's a great song on there called Voodoo. It's basically him seeing like some voodoo witch doctor chick, and she takes out a fucking voodoo doll and sticks it in his eye. He's like, my eye, bitch. Great fucking song. But yeah, I highly recommend listening to the Body Count album if you haven't. And they're still releasing music to this day. They released an album
there was a bunch,
in like 2016, I think.
There was a bunch of music out there. I was like, oh, okay, shit.
Yeah. So I'm really shocked that you've never heard of them, because they may or may not have a song in my top 5 list.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, do you have anything you want to talk about? Any specific songs that didn't make your list that you want to go over before we start kind of...
There was, let's see. We kind of talked about...
Oh, I got one after you're done.
We didn't really talk about any STP stuff. I mean, I have, like, the core album that came out, Stone Temple Pilots for me was more... Like, I leaned more towards STP than Alice in Chains.
Sure. And not to say I didn't like STP, but...
And I ended up seeing STP in concert, too, so I think there may be a little bit of... It's really hard, like, as we sit here and, 30 years later,
yeah,
to not let our influence now, where we sit now, influence where we were then.
Sure.
Because, having sat... I saw STP in concert, and I think it elevated where STP was in my kind of whatever, in my internal top 50 list or whatever.
Sure.
It elevated them, so I think that influenced kind of some of my stuff. We can talk about that a little bit more. The Bare Naked Ladies, right?
Oh, they had an album that year.
They had an album that year, and
but it wasn't the big one that everybody knew.
right, but a lot. So the big one that everyone knows about, right? The Maroon album, I think it is. I have it in my fucking
that was in like '99 or something.
Yeah,
so we're
it was
talking like
much later.
7 years after.
But
this.
a lot of the songs that were hits off of that album were redone off of the first album, and
okay.
But listening to that album, like, because I just wanted to hear all the songs because I recognize a lot of the songs, but they're very raw, and you could tell it was very, very new. But the If I Had $1 Million song was like, it sounded like what Bare Naked Ladies sounded like, and I like that. It's very campy. It's a very campy, very pop band, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Bare Naked Ladies. So that was one of them. The Gin Blossoms, the Hey Jealousy song. That was on my Others Deserving Mention.
That was in '92?
That was in '92.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought that was later.
No, that was in '92. We kind of touched on a Nirvana Insecticide album, or Incesticide rather.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of a re-release of a lot of their
there was
like B-sides and like unreleased stuff, and
it was
right?
weird. It was a weird sound. It was a really weird sound for Nirvana. And I quite frankly, I listened to it for the show. Mm-hmm. I don't remember listening to it ever before.
Yeah.
So I don't remember us mentioning it. So Dr. Dre.
Oh yeah, the fucking Chronic.
Ain't nothing but a G thing, baby.
So this was this was his first solo album, right? I'm pretty sure it was.
Go with yes.
Because NWA had broken up like a year or two before. Ice Cube had already released a couple albums. In fact, Ice Cube had an album that came out this year that one of the songs from that almost made my top 5. It Was a Good Day. I gotta say it was a good day. But, Dre released his album, and this was sort of the start of that whole Dre family that branched from this, because it started with Snoop Dogg. Yeah. He had songs on this track.
Snoop-a-loop. Bring your green hat.
Oh, I fucking love that movie. We're going streaking. But obviously branched with fucking Snoop, Warren G and Nate Dogg, and then Eminem and fucking 54 Cents, and this whole family all kind of branched out and started at this fucking album.
Yeah,
The Chronic, which honestly I never liked.
Yeah, but it was the start of something that is still continuing to this day.
Mm-hmm.
You know how huge. To think about what Snoop Dogg is currently. Like to think of where he came from in this world with Dr. Dre, and talking about bitches ain't shit, and
just smoking weed all fucking day,
and now he's like in commercials, and people are looking at him as a legitimate fucking
like spokesman for things.
Yeah. It's like, oh my god. But his narration of the fucking the Earth stuff is fucking hilarious.
And just quick, Sweet Studios mentioned from Incesticide, Dive and Aneurysm were 2 of the best Nirvana songs ever. So I'm gonna have to go back and
Dive was an interesting song. I just listened to it.
I don't think I remember it,
but I can't even rank it because, like I said, when listening to it now, I can't say that I've listened to it before. But it's a different sound. I was kind of surprised.
I'll have to go and listen to it. I'm assuming those are on Apple Music.
It is. That's how I listen to it. What was another one? And I wanted to bring up Tool because I'm a huge Tool fan now, right? Insert fucking, funny thing here about Tools. But in 1992, Tool wasn't on my radar at all. Like Opiate came out in '92. Hush was probably the song that I know now from that album that is like kind of in my rotation, was not on my radar in 1992 at all. But it's music I enjoy now. So going back and kind of doing the research for this, the last things, ZZ Top Greatest Hits.
Yeah, that came out that year.
I was playing that when we were getting ready for the show. I love ZZ Top is like it's just, I don't know, it's just good.
Yeah.
I just like it.
Yeah.
Like I just like it.
Yeah,
It's
their own unique feel,
Yeah.
but it's like nothing ever bad. Like just a lot of good fun tracks.
Nothing. It's not super complicated. It's not crazy.
Well, it can't be with only 3 people in the band.
And I saw them in concert, and it was fucking great.
Yeah.
So ZZ Top's Greatest Hits is one of those albums that it's in my fucking binder of justice back here, and then the Aladdin soundtrack. So Aladdin came out this year. I know my cousin Rick, he's in the chat, and I know some other people had brought it up. The Disney movies like Aladdin, think about Aladdin, Lion King, Beauty and the Beast. Like there's like the music that's in here.
Well, this year was Beauty and the Beast also, and that
That's
soundtrack
right.
was out because that had the Celine Dion song.
That's right.
Beauty and the Beast.
Oh God, damn! The brownie is. The brownie's trying to kill me. No, but there's some really, really good, just fun songs on there, and Robin Williams performing with some of these songs.
Oh yeah,
It's
you
just-
forget that he's.
Yeah, it's just so much fun. These Disney movies in the early 90s, like I know for me, I had my sisters were younger, right? So we watched these movies a lot.
And it was top quality shit.
Yeah.
Like they did really good work on these.
Those days, Disney brought it. When with Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, like they were fucking these were the hits.
Yeah.
And they brought it, and the music and everything else hit every time. So I just thought it was worth bringing up for the conversation for talking about the music in 92.
Oh yeah, no, and they were big songs, like the Aladdin, A Whole New World.
All right, before we get to our top list.
Yeah, I've got something else I want to interject too, but go ahead with what you were going to say.
No, interject.
All right, so there's some stuff that I appreciated at the time that going back in retrospect, I'm kind of like, what the fuck was I thinking? And one of the big ones was my love for Prince. My love for Prince in the 80s really blinded me to how terrible his shit was in the 90s. And this was the year of the Diamonds and Pearl album.
Giving you diamonds and pearls.
And Cream and all that. And going back and re-listening to those, I'm like, this wasn't nearly as good as I thought it was. So yeah, it wasn't good. Like his stuff in the mid 90s was.
I agree.
Yeah, but I was blinded by my faithful listening to Prince and what he had given me in the 80s, and I let it cloud my judgment.
Obviously.
So, all right, you have to pee.
I do.
All right, so we're going to take a very quick break and be right back with our top 5 lists. Oh my God. After this word from our sponsors.
Is it going to come back on?
Oh, was that the monitor? Yeah. I saw something flash over there. Like, what did you do? All right, while he's gone, I'm going to go over some of my other notes that I didn't get to cover. Woo. It's like a fucking storm of the century out there. You know who else I liked in 92? PM Dawn. It's a little blast from the past. They had the, They had a couple of songs that I really liked. I don't think they ever did anything much past 92. But I did like them. Oh, we're going to have to talk about Spin Doctors and Soul Asylum when Dave gets back. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh, PM Dawn's I'd Die Without You. That almost made my top 5 list. I really enjoyed that song. Da, 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 da. Ice Cube's I Gotta Say It Was a Good Day. Didn't even have to use my AK. I gotta say it was a good day. Oh, what else we got? All right, we're just gonna go look through the top singles of the year and talk about some of those. Eric Clapton, we barely touched on Tears in Heaven. We should probably talk about that. Fucking Crisscross. Oh my god.
Scary out there.
Yeah.
Mr. Aladdin, sir.
All right, we got a couple things I want to touch on really quick before we... You all right?
Yes.
Before we get into our lists.
Okay.
So give me a countdown whenever you're ready.
Hang on. Why does this monitor not... It didn't come back on.
What did you do? Hold on. Did you unplug it?
No, the power's in. The power's in.
Did you press the button?
Yeah, it's...
Oh my god. Fucked it up.
Not that it's not important, but... You ain't never got a friend.
All right, watch your ears, people.
Never got a friend. You ain't never
Just in case.
had a friend like me.
All right, well, again, whenever you're ready, give us a countdown, and we'll get back to it.
Stand by.
We still sound good, right, guys? Say something, Dave.
Something. Hello, 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 hello.
Hello.
Hello,
Hello.
hello. The fuck happened to this monitor, man?
You did something when you, like, jerked back and ripped the fucking cord out. We'll have to troubleshoot afterwards.
Roger.
We ain't got time for this shit.
Countdown.
Do it. And we're back! So, continuing on with the music of 92, something that we completely breezed over, but I think we should at least talk about a little bit. Spin Doctors and Soul Asylum. Their debut albums both came out this year. I think they were the debut albums for both. But basically their first big albums, either way. So, Spin Doctors, the guys who did Little Miss Can't Be Wrong and Two Princes, that album came out later in 92. And Soul Asylum, who did the Black Gold, and then, of course, Runaway Train, the song that you talk about getting over fucking played.
God, yeah.
And I bring these two together because I actually saw them in concert. I think it was in summer of 93. So both of their albums came out towards the end of 92. Again, you get the spillover into the next year. They released a couple of singles, Runaway Train, fucking Two Princes. Like, okay, let's tour together. And they toured together, and I saw them in L.A. in 93. But I just wanted to bring them up because, again, they were fairly big releases this year. Here's a funny thing. So the Runaway Train video, which is fucking super depressing, first of all. Besides getting over
the whole fucking song.
Yeah, besides getting overplayed into oblivion, the video was very depressing. But the funny thing that came out of this was this was after Bill Clinton won the presidency. Right, and he was in the White House, so this would have been 93.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the album was released in 92. They had the Runaway Train video was huge, and Bill Clinton invited Soul Asylum to play at the White House in front of, like, you know, the White House staff and some senators and everything. And of course, you know, they all, because, oh, they made this song about runaway children. Oh, this is great. And MTV did this, like, thing on it, this news report on it. And it's like them set up in this fucking tent, like outside the White House. All these fucking, you know, senators and White House staff and everybody in all these like nice suits sitting there watching them. And they're playing the Black Gold and right now, won't you give it a bit? Let's go for it. And they're all just sitting there just with these weird smiles on their face like, haha, this is fun.
Yeah.
You know? And it was so silly.
And
they've even said that the song Runaway Train isn't about runaway children. It's... You know, it's got about a whole other thing, but they decided to do the runaway kids in the music video for reasons.
Yeah, I vaguely remember this awkward video.
Yeah.
That you're talking about with the all these senators and shit listening to this fucking music. Sublime came out had an
Really?
album out. Yeah, 40 ounces, 40 ounce of something.
Wow. Yeah, I did not think that they
Sublime
were out
had
this
an
early.
album. It was early album though. It's like smoke two joints, and then there's a couple songs on there that you know that they've played subsequently, but it is Sublime came out with an early album, but kind of along those same lines, right? It's these artists that were starting to hear, like we're going to hear these very coverable bands.
Yeah.
Like, so for me, this, like in 92 going into like 93, 94, I'm probably more so in 93, 94. I'm listening to a lot of music that later on, when I'm old enough to get into bars and shit, I'm hearing cover bands handle a lot of the same music that I was listening to while I was driving in 93 and 94. So 40 ounces to freedom. Thank you, Big Lovin'.
Nice. So we have 2 different top 5 lists.
We do.
Because in addition to doing our top 5 favorite songs of 92, we also have our top 5 least favorite songs of 92. And in addition to those, we also have our listener submitted top 5 songs. So we're going to do those alongside of our top 5. Now, do you want to start with the least favorite or the favorite first?
Let's start with the least favorite.
All right,
let's go
good,
least favorite
good,
first.
because this will generate some good conversation. So do you want to start or do you want me to?
You go first.
Okay.
Because you'll do 5, and I'll do 5 and 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That works.
So my honorable mention, first of all, is Soul Asylum's Runaway Train, because fuck that song, it got overplayed. My number 5, Anything by TLC.
Okay.
Thought they were all fucking annoying. They had like 3 singles that year. Thought they were all annoying. They were all trash. Not my style. Sorry, TLC, but yeah, you got nothing for me. So that's my number 5.
All right. So my number 5.
And again, these are least favorite.
Least favorite.
Yeah.
These are, as Jason said, his fuck you list.
Yes.
Runaway Train also over fucking played. It was
Yeah.
just over fucking played. Melodically had a lot of good stuff, but it's sad. Fuck you.
And that was your number 5?
That was my number 5. My number 4 is Bruce Springsteen. Springsteen had
I knew you were going to bring that up.
Springsteen came out with an album in 92.
2 albums in 92. Human Touch and Lucky Town.
That's right. It was 2 albums.
Yeah.
And my number 4 says Bruce Springsteen. Any of it. Any of it. All
Yes,
of it.
you're-
Can eat a giant bag of dicks. I do not like Bruce Springsteen. This probably could go higher, but
Your hatred of the boss is well documented on
fuck
the podcast.
Bruce Springsteen. Fuck him right in the ear. Him and his denim fucking jacket.
All right.
Fuck him.
My number 4. Right Said Fred, I'm Too Sexy. So annoying. Like, again, I get how it's catchy
Too
and all.
sexy for my shirt.
I did not
So
want
sexy. It
anything to do
hurts.
with this fucking song in any fashion.
You know why? I think I know why.
Why?
Because you're not too sexy. You weren't too
Probably.
sexy for your shirt.
No. Back then
You
I
were
was.
not too sexy. It hurt.
Yeah. No, I was not. But yeah, no, fuck that song. My number 3. So I had one crossed out here
Okay.
because initially it was No Rain from Blind Melon. You remember that song with the dancing bee and the.
could say that my life is pretty plain.
And again, I didn't like it because of the music video with the fucking dancing bee
Right.
and the fact that it was overplayed.
she was
as-
on the cover too. That was like the cover
Yeah,
art. Was
yeah.
that? Yeah.
As I'm doing research and I've just got headphones on and I'm listening to tracks, this came on and I'm listening to the music now and I'm like, this actually isn't that bad. Like from a composition standpoint, you listen to the guitars and the way it's all put together and even the vocals, it's like, it's actually not terrible.
Blind Melon's not a bad group.
Yeah, it's like you got to get the fucking video part out of there, and obviously, again, the overplaying. That's the problem with so much of the popular music at the time. Is
Facts.
it was on all the fucking time.
Yeah, I agree with you, but Blind Melon is actually a decent group.
Yeah.
I think musically, I think they're very...
Yeah, rest in peace, Shannon Hoon. So instead, for my number 3, I put in Criss Cross's Jump.
It's only number 3?
It's only number 3. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Trust me, there was some really bad shit. But it's like, with the backwards stuff, right? First of all, like when you base your whole presentation on a fucking gimmick and everything, you know that's not going to last long. Where their gimmicks, we wear our clothes backwards.
And they're kids.
Yeah.
They're wearing this baggy-ass clothes, and they're wearing it backwards.
Yeah.
Like, even in 92, when I was still a kid, basically, like, looking at this and, like, I was annoyed by it.
Yeah.
I was annoyed by it. And they had several songs. And I saw people walking around in school with their fucking clothes on backwards.
I think one person in my school tried to do that once.
I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, that... How do you go to, like, you're going to go take a piss, you got to fucking, now you're going to sit down to pee.
Yeah.
Is basically what happens to you now. Now you're going to sit down to pee.
Yeah. Yeah, and I hated, absolutely hated it, hated everything they did. They had like 2 or 3 singles in their illustrious career that didn't last very long, go figure. So, hated this fucking song. Fucking hated it from the first time I ever heard it to the 50,000th time I fucking heard it. So that was my number 3. What do you got?
My number 3?
Mm-hmm.
When a man loves a woman.
That's right. Michael Bolton had his greatest hits album.
Fuck Michael Bolton.
And this was one of the new tracks on that.
Yes. Fuck Michael Bolton. Fuck this song. Again, overplayed. I'm not a romantic fucking bullshit is not my thing anyway.
Mm-hmm.
When a man loves a woman.
Well, In Living Color did a fantastic parody of that. It was Jim Carrey as Michael Bolton.
Yeah.
When a man needs a big hit, and it talks about him just going back and remaking an old song, and
it makes my just takes my stomach and it just. Ugh.
Thankfully, for some reason, I don't know if it was just like the stuff that I watched, the radio I listened to, Michael Bolton almost never came on. Like, he was like, I knew of him, but he was never like in my face.
It was when my mom was in the car, it would be on the radio.
Yeah,
when my mom was in the car.
Yeah, it would for me it was country music. So
when a man loves a woman.
All right, you're number 2. And again, these are our least favorite songs for anybody who's tuning in.
Least favorite
of 92. Right? We haven't done our top songs of 92 yet.
All right. My number 2 is Friday I'm in Love by The Cure.
Oh, right.
It's Friday I'm in love. When did you get better?
Yeah, not a fan.
So there was a lot of so in 92 I was I just finished my sophomore year of high school. You know, I was on the swim team. I had friends that were, I was in that weird, like, skater, like, kind of jock.
He was a skater boy. She said, "See you later, boy."
Right?
No,
that was later. That's a much newer song.
Yeah.
It's kind of with the skater, not quite jock group with some of the like weird early fucking goth people. Like, there was just this weird group, and there was people that were into The Cure and this other shit, and I just could not fucking stand it. Mm-hmm. There was just something about the music that I just was like, I
know that song, and I recall not liking it.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't even want to go any further than that. I don't like. And I don't like The Cure.
Yep.
I don't enjoy the. I don't enjoy the sound.
And that was your number 2, right?
That was my number 2.
All right, my number 2. Mr. Big, To Be With You. I fucking hated this song. I'm the one who wants
that was
to
this year?
be with you.
I'm the one.
Deep inside, I hope you feel it. And I know all the words. I know all the fucking words because I heard the song 15,000 fucking times in 1992. It was always
this
on.
year?
Yeah.
Damn.
I fucking hated that song. Hated it, hated it, hated it.
That's okay.
And they played it all the time. That's a theme with a lot of this stuff,
well,
too.
That was a lot on MTV.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but that's where I got most of my music.
That wasn't on terrestrial radio a lot. I remember it being on MTV. Like, every once... If you were watching MTV for more than a couple hours, it would come on. So I know what you're saying, but it didn't get overplayed for me, so it wouldn't have never made my list.
Yep. And Dragon Buddy's with me. He loathes Mr. Big as well. So, and then moving on to my number one. I mean, this has got to be an easy one.
I guarantee you, ours is the same.
Is it?
Yeah.
By the father of Miley Cyrus?
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't tell my heart, my achy breaky heart. I just don't think you understand.
So we talked about it at the top of this episode. You know, you didn't have a whole lot of exposure to country music, but I'm sure some of these crossovers you heard. Now imagine where I came from, where it was all about the country music. And then this fucking shit comes out. That's all you fucking hear. The most annoying fucking song ever fucking written in the history of humanity. Achy fucking breaky heart. Over and over and over. Oh, but it gets better. We have this thing in my hometown, the Great Kern County Fair in Bakersfield, California. It's this big fucking thing every fall, right? They do massive free concerts there. It's like fucking carnival games and rides and all this stuff. It's a huge fucking event in town for like a month every year. And in '93, you know, I'm able to drive there myself, hanging out there with my friends. It's fucking great. Oh, it's the greatest time of my life. And then I hear in the distance, what am I hearing in the distance at the stadium where they're doing the concerts? It's Billy Ray fucking Cyrus, and he's playing Achy Breaky Heart there live, and you can hear it throughout the whole fucking fair. It's like, I thought we were rid of you. the fucking song. If you had put me alone in a room with Billy Ray Cyrus and a gun, we wouldn't have had the two fucking whores that he spawned later on to torture us in subsequent years, is all I'm saying.
This song was fucking awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
Oh, yeah. No, it was the worst.
It was awful.
It was the absolute worst.
Him as a person, like I said, he interacted with family. He was incredibly nice.
Mm-hmm.
A nice human being. Ironically, there's a song that came out a couple years ago that he did with a rapper. I want to take my horse on the Old Town Road.
Oh, Old Town Road. Oh,
yeah.
God.
I enjoy that. I just enjoy it.
Dave.
I enjoy that. But Achy Breaky Heart, yeah, that's also my number one. It's fucking.
It's the worst.
It's if you want to. This would be perfect. Like, thank God we're already through survival school and don't have to worry about any of that shit anymore.
Oh, that would have been the worst.
Can you imagine if we were on the podcast and the fucking survival school instructors were listening? Like, excellent.
Yeah.
We know exactly what to do to fucking torture these motherfuckers.
Oh,
we have 10 songs here that we can fucking play for them. Or 9, because 2 are the same. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so let's move to some more positive.
So let's cleanse our palate.
Yes.
Let's do a little palate cleanse, a little swish.
Mm-hmm.
Let's swish around.
And we'll do our favorite songs of 92. So now, Lunar Girl collected a list of what listeners thought were going to be our top 5 favorite songs.
Right.
And she also compiled a list of the most requested songs as she was building the playlist. So as we're doing our top 5, we're also going to integrate the listener top 5 as voted by the listeners. So we're going to mix those in with our top 5. So I will start with my number 5.
All right.
And my number 5, Ugly Kid Joe's Cats in the Cradle. So they remade the song Cats in the Cradle from, it was an old, like, 70s song, and the cats in the cradle. I am well documented as having father issues growing up, and this song hit very close to home, and I really, really liked it, though, you know, I found it depressing at times, but at the same time, I really enjoyed it. It's really stuck with me over all these years, and that was my my number 5.
It's legit.
Yep. Now, the listener number 5 was, it was a tie, a 3-way tie, which I don't think that should count between Jump by Criss Cross, Tears in Heaven by Eric Clapton, which we haven't really talked about a whole lot, and then Rooster by Alice in Chains. So that was the three-way tie for our listener number 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting variety at number 5.
Indeed. So,
that's very stratified right there.
yeah. So we've already talked the Criss Cross song to death. Tears in Heaven.
I mean,
good fucking song.
Tears in Heaven.
Like, especially if you know the context of how it was written and why it was written with his son and everything else. It's like, oh, jeez.
It's just, it's so sad. Mm-hmm. It's just sad.
Yeah. Just YouTube it if you don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The Eric
Well,
Clapton
get that album. Honestly, get that album. And you're not going to like everything that's on it. Yeah. I mean, if you're sitting here like in our generation, you're not going to like everything that's on that album.
Yep.
Probably. But Layla, again, that version of Layla that's on there is fucking phenomenal.
Indeed. All right. Your number 5.
My number 5 is a little song that was a remake by the Lemonheads called Mrs. Robinson.
Oh, I remember that remake.
Yes.
That was this year, huh?
Yep, that was in 92.
Oh, no shit.
It was on the Lemonheads album. So what's funny is Kathy and I, when we were, first seeing each other, listening to music, like this was like kind of a common album that we had.
Yeah.
Between the two of us was this, and this song, this Mrs. Robinson song, was one of those songs. So when I found out that this was 92, I was like, oh fuck, this is on the list. For sure. And it's just a really catchy version of the song too. And the Lemonheads don't, it's the Lemonheads, right? What the fuck did they do? But for me, there's a great version of the song, and it's easily made my top 5 for this year.
Very good. Your number 4.
My number 4 is Tribal Dance by 2 Unlimited.
How does that go?
It's techno.
I'm sure I would recognize it, but like the title and the artist don't ring a bell.
Oh, damn it, Jason.
Nah, it's fine. I'm sure I would recognize it if I heard.
Tribal Dance.
Okay, that sounds familiar. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
So we talked. We were talking about kind of how I was getting into this like this dance kind of bit, and this was turning into like my workout music.
Sure.
And while I was swimming, right, this was also like my pace music, like in my head.
Yeah.
Like I'd be like playing the techno music,
like stroking to the beat.
Yeah, that's not nobody's swimming like that. I'm not rowing a boat, Jason. Like, what the fuck are you doing over there?
I'm not a swimmer,
obviously. But yeah, and 2 Unlimited was huge at the time. Like, you're talking about like this groundswell of like the techno music, and
yeah, it was big at this time.
Kind of bringing it in there, and this is one of those where it's on my playlist to this day. Like it's in a rotation in some form or fashion, and you're going to hear this at football games, or they're going to play it as like part of hype music and shit like that. It's one of those staple kind of build up songs.
Okay. So our listener number 4, and this almost made my top 5, was Ice Cube's "It Was a Good Day." Love this song. It's just a fun song, but it was good.
Damn right, it was a good day.
Didn't even have to use my AK. I gotta say, it was a good day.
You know what else? Like, sidebar. You know what other song that we know of, but by accident? The Ghetto Boys song. Damn, it feels good to be a gangster. That came out in 92.
Oh, but we know it from Office Space.
We know it from Office Space.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Which I got those pops, by the way. Like, so I went on eBay and got I have a couple of, I got Peter Gibbons and I got Lumberg for my Office Space pops. And I think I have Jennifer Aston too. Yeah, she's up there. Anyway. But I wanted fucking Michael and Samir, and the pop that they come with, it's Michael and Samir, and they have the fucking printer, and they're like getting ready to beat up the printer, which is what that music is set to, right?
Yep.
And but like to get it in box is like a little bit more than I wanted to spend, but they were selling it out of box for like fucking $10.
Oh,
like,
sweet.
Zoinks.
Yeah.
So that's, if you look back in like last couple of weeks when we were on the remote, like you'll see it over my shoulder. I got Michael and Samir over the shoulder beating up. But yeah,
We'll have to go back and check that out.
Damn It Feels
YouTube.
Good to Be a Gangster came out this year also.
All right. So my number 4 from the Automatic for the People album, REM's Drive. Loved that song.
Yeah.
That was didn't like it?
I couldn't get into REM. Like,
Well, I didn't like early REM, but this was a lot different, a much different tone from their earlier albums.
yeah,
Because this one also had Man on the Moon, which later became popular when they did the movie Man on the Moon, starring Jim Carrey.
I think
on
Man
the
on the Moon was one of the reasons I kind of like it pushed me away from this album.
Yeah, but Drive was a far different, like, tonally song than they've ever done, I think. And I really enjoyed it. That's the reason why I bought the album, was for Drive. So that was my number 4. My number 3, Body Counts, There Goes the Neighborhood, which, this was the one of the, I think this was the first single released from the Body Count album, and it was all about, who let these black guys play rock and roll? Don't they know rock is just for whites? Don't they know the rules? So it was great. It was a great way to introduce the band Body Count, and fucking love that song. Absolutely loved it. And you need to start listening to
Yeah,
this.
I will be. That'll be something that's could probably listen to on a drive home.
Yep. Number 3 from our listeners was Thunder Kiss 65 by White Zombie, that we've talked about a little bit already.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good song. I just too much.
All right.
Saturation.
Well, you're number 3.
My number 3 was Wicked Garden, off of the core album for Stone Temple Pilots.
Oh, okay.
Burn your wicked garden to the ground.
Okay, yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. Again, this is Stone Temple Pilots is like influenced by the fact that I saw them in concert 4 years later, and enjoyed the shit out of it.
Yeah.
It was just a great show. The particular show that I was at, they did they played all their hits, and it was after they had done the Unplugged, and they did the Unplugged set. I think I talked about this on the show before, but they did the Unplugged set. It came out of the fucking ceiling, right? This was in the Spectrum. This is back before they tore down the Spectrum, right? And the fucking Unplugged set was in the ceiling, and it just dropped down. And so they got up and did the Unplugged fucking set, and then went back up, and then they fucking finished the show. It was a great show. Nice. Sounded awesome. Fucking Weiland was. It was a great show. Yeah. It was a great live show, and I think that's 100% influenced my decisions for some of these songs, because now I listen to STP, I think I associate those good vibes, I guess, or whatever. But Wicked Garden it's a great song. I think me personally, I think it's the best one on that album. But
okay,
that's me.
Nice. All right, your number 2.
My number 2 and my number 1 could easily have gone one way or the other. My number 2 is By Demons Be Driven by Pantera.
Okay.
So
that was on the Vulgar Display of Power album.
Yeah, so this is a very So you liked Walk.
Yes.
Right? For me, the difference is with By Demons is that it's very bam.
Yeah, Walk is a much slower tempo.
Yeah. Like very just knifing, like very very sharp, very just kind of an axe coming down on you, and intense, and that's what I liked. That's what I liked about it.
Okay.
Pantera is Pantera is the kind of shit you want to listen to right before you're gonna go get into a fight, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'm going to get into an altercation and I'm going to win.
Well, I mean, fuck, the album cover is a fucking fist punching a dude in the face.
Right.
So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it works. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, so you kind of drive the point home.
Yeah.
No pun intended. All right, so the listener number 2 was Nothing But a G Thing by Dr. Dre. Yeah, not much else to say about that. Despite being a West Coast kid, not my style. My number 2, I've made no secret that I am a big fan of Mariah Carey and was, especially back in the 90s. And her cover of I'll Be There from her MTV Unplugged album was my number 2. It was a very good rendition of the song, and it was played very heavily, but I enjoyed it every time. So
Jason loves Mariah Carey.
I do.
So what did we learn today, kids? We learned that, we reaffirmed that Jason loves Mariah Carey.
Yep.
Jason also loves Vanessa Williams, and Vanessa Williams is higher on Jason's Spank Bank
Yes.
than Mariah Carey.
But she is,
At least there was at the time.
yeah, but Mariah is more talented.
And he also likes In Vogue.
Yes. Also very talented.
Very talented. All three.
Yeah.
Just in case they're taking notes.
Okay.
I'm helping them out.
All right, whatever. I don't know what you're trying to prove here.
I'm recapping. That's what I'm doing.
Now, before we get into our number ones, do we want to talk about our listener guesses for our number ones?
Sure, let's do that.
Before we actually reveal ours?
Yeah, that's a good call.
So I've got your number ones, like the guesses for your number ones, queued up here. Some funny ones.
All right.
So some of them are kind of no-goes because they're technically 91 released songs.
So same anyway. Who gives a shit?
Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit. They also guessed Alice in Chains' Rooster. Rhythm is a Dancer from Snap.
Dude, Rhythm is
That was a 91 song though.
Yeah.
Rump Shaker, Rex in Effect.
That's a good song.
Bohemian Rhapsody from Queen. Eric Clapton's Layla. Humping Around by Bobby Brown. We didn't even talk about that. That was one of the top singles of that year, was Bobby Brown's Humping Around. Everybody's humping around.
Didn't Whitney and Bobby get married in 92?
I don't know.
I think they got married in 92.
Was there a run on cocaine that year?
I think so.
Okay, then yeah,
there was a big run on cocaine.
Yep. Creep from STP. Walk from Pantera. And Too Legit to Quit from MC Hammer.
Nice.
Also a 91 song. Sorry, guys. So, yeah, those were the guesses for your number one.
Hey, there's a couple of really good guesses there.
Yeah.
There really is. All right, for your guesses for Jason's favorite number one, Baby Got Back for Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Okay.
My Lovin' by In Vogue.
Ooh.
You got 3 guesses for I'm Too Sexy for Right Said Fred. A Beach Boys song.
Is that all it is? It's just
It just says a Beach Boys song. I'll Be There, Mariah Carey.
Ooh, close. Whoever said that was really close.
Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. Blowing Kisses in the Wind, Paul Abdul.
I did like that song.
Humping Around by Bobby Brown. I Will Always Love You, Whitney Houston.
I briefly liked that song until it just got way overplayed, and then it was like, go away.
And then the last one is When a Man Loves a Woman.
Well, the Mariah Carey is the closest guess that anybody got, so I'm curious as to who guessed that one. You win the prize, whoever you are.
Yeah, my number one is not anywhere close to anyone of.
Yeah. Oh yeah, same. So all right, let me get the listeners one back up. Okay, so my number one. A stark contrast from my number 2 was Ministry's New World Order.
Nice.
Fucking love that song.
Nice.
That song, I have had that song in a playlist for decades because that is like my run song, right? Whenever I'm doing a PT test for fucking work, that is one of like 3 songs that I put in a fucking playlist and I fucking just as I'm fucking running. It's like I love working out to that song. I've loved it since I first heard it in the early 90s. And I still listen to it on a regular basis. It's in like 2 of my playlists on my phone right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, dude. That fucking the intensity of that fucking song is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
And then you got George Bush in there. A new world order.
Yeah, a new world order.
We're not gonna make that same mistake. It's fucking. That's a great song.
Yeah,
that is a great song, and it is a stark contrast. I would have never have guessed that with you.
And that's why I said nobody was gonna guess my number one.
Never have guessed it.
Yeah. Like that's longevity for me. That's like lasted from the moment I've heard it until today for 30 years. That's been in regular rotation in my playlist. So before we get to yours, our listener number one was "Baby Got Back," Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Was it really?
Yeah. So the number one requested song in Lunar Girls Sidebar Cantina playlist.
All right.
All right. We're down to you.
You know my number one. I want you to look at it.
I saw Runaway Train at the bottom. I'm like, no.
That's it.
No shit.
Yeah. My number one is Jesus Built My Car. It's a love affair. Mainly Jesus and my hot rod. Dude.
Also Ministry, though.
Ministry. Dude. So it's the same thing, right? For working out and everything else. This goes back to the swim team bus, right? Listen, I heard Ministry for the first time through somebody else's headphones on the bus after a swim practice with the swim team, and I'm like, I'm like, oh, this is some good shit.
Yeah,
and yeah, I fucking the tempo, it makes me want to go run through a fucking wall. It does. And that entire album, the Psalm 69 is another really, really good one. I mean, that I could have very easily have put your song there. I could have put Psalm 69. Like those three for sure are some of the really, really good fucking songs.
Yeah, and Psalm 69 is the name of the album too that came on.
It's just the type of shit you want to listen to if you want to go fucking get ready to go run through walls. And I was doing something, I forget where I was. I think it was TDY somewhere, and one of the younger guys I think it was one of the younger maintenance guys had made a comment about something, and then I had finished the statement, right? Because they were talking about like the lyrics. And I finished the lyrics. And they looked back at me like, what do you know about that? I was just like, yeah, dude, this is shit from my fucking sophomore year. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and I distinctly remember I was sitting on the whole experience of being on the team bus for swimming, like in high school, because we didn't have a pool. We had to go, like, we went, all right, this is a whole sidebar. Sorry. This is going to take a minute.
Yeah, sure.
So for our high school team, we used to rent time at the YMCA in Camden for fucking practice. The Camden Y is directly across from a fucking prison that the county lockup that's right there. So the bus would fucking go in and drop us off. And it's wintertime. Swimming's between fucking November and March. Right? So it's dark as shit. It's cold. And you go into the fucking Y. It's super over-chlorinated, right? Your skin's dry. Your fucking hair, like, it's the most damaging fucking thing ever. I miss it so much. Like, at this time of year, especially, like, I get the urge. I get the swim fever. So I distinctly remember, like, we get into the back, get onto the swim team bus. We had just finished practice. You're all fucking, like, I'm in shorts, sneakers, no socks, because, you're wet. You're not fully dry, but you're still fucking, like, really over temped because of the workout you just did in the pool. Got my jacket on. The windows of the fucking bus are completely fogged over, right? You got dicks being drawn. You got fucking this person's making fun of that person or whatever. And I'm sitting in the back, and this guy, his name is John Charlet. He fucking handed me his headphones, and he's like, "Oh, here, you gotta listen to this." And he was a Depeche Mode guy, and some other stuff. And I wasn't really into Depeche Mode. But I was listening to this and I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I really like this. I really like this.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's the same bit, man. It's in every workout playlist that I have. And the fact that it still gets play, like to this day, like Ministry, like is still gets play and still is out there, is fucking phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's just,
And
it's a very, very unique sound, and it's fucking great.
Yep. And so Kristen is very upset that we haven't talked about her guess for what my number one was. Well, the problem is, Kristen, the song that you guessed was mine came out in 93. So that's why we haven't talked about it.
What was her guess?
Informer, you know, snow like a beam. I lick your boom boom down. Take the man that said the snow somewhere down the lane. I lick your boom boom down.
Are those the actual words?
Kind of.
That's fucking ridiculous.
But yeah, we'll talk about snow in 1993 when we get to there. So that actually brings up a good question. Again, Kristen's very concerned about the fact that we may not talk about the music of 1993 until 2023.
No, fuck that.
Yeah. She doesn't want to wait another year before we talk about another year of music in the 90s.
You know, I was having the same thought when I was. Supergirl says, check your facts. It was 90. She says 92.
Not according to Wikipedia. Or any of the fucking Billboard charts that we've brought up, be it album sales or singles. It's not showing up on any of them, so...
Wow. Somebody's doubling down on there.
All right, well, let's fucking solve this right now. So, 12 Inches of Snow, according to Wikipedia, came out in 1993. And,
Judges?
Yeah, which, let's see. Informer, track number 7 on 12 Inches of Snow. Release date. August 20... Oh, the single was released August 20th of 1992. The album wasn't released until 93. That's weird. That doesn't normally happen. Yeah. I guess call it a mix-up, but no, that doesn't make any sense because we pulled up the Billboard charts for that year, the singles and the album sales, and Informer is not on here.
It isn't.
So I think there's some sort of,
because that's got to be on the Billboard chart.
Oh yeah, no, it was big. It was a
huge.
brief period of time, but it was big. It would have cracked, the top fucking 100 songs of that year. So we'll have to do some additional research and figure out where the discrepancy
would it have
lies.
Usurped the fucking New World Order?
No. There was a period of time where I enjoyed that song. Not gonna lie, I don't think it would be. I don't know if it would make my top 5, honestly, but it would have been one of those fun kind of, songs that I appreciated, but wouldn't put it all the way up there. But either way,
Jason backtracking.
I'm just saying I'm going off of what's on the internet, and the internet's never wrong.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously. I don't have a nickel in it. I just like watching Jason struggle. As far as the music in 1993 goes, there's no way we're waiting a whole year. Because we did, I think we're in a good flow. We did 90, 91, 92.
Mm-hmm.
I think when the 93 comes up on when it comes around on the record, we'll do 93 and 94. Because I want to.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait until the anniversary year. I think this just happened to work out.
Right. And that's why because we could have easily have done the music of 92 last year as we were kind of going through 90, 91. But I'm like, we might as well just wait an extra month. Do it the year of its 30th anniversary and then just kind of carry on as normal.
It just works out that way.
Yeah.
So 93 is going to get done this year for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it even more, 93 and 94, because, like I said, everything changes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, everything changes because I'm driving.
Yeah, same.
Now I'm driving, and now the soundtrack changes.
Mm-hmm.
So It'll be very, very interesting to see.
Well, that and then,
what changes.
Yeah, and, we're talking the years where we actually start dating and,
Yeah.
That becomes like an important thing. So, all right. Anything else on the music of 92 before we move on and close this out?
Did I have anything else? No, I think we covered everything that I wanted. All right.
I think that was about as thorough as we can get in 2.5 hours. So hope y'all enjoyed it.
Yeah. And make sure, I don't know if Luna Girl has it in here because she's like, Luna Girl worked really hard to get aggregate everyone's lists for the playlist. And I know she was furiously copying down our lists as well to add to the playlist, which I'm sure everyone has already. Probably the same music that we had, except for maybe Ministry, but I didn't look at any of the Spotify stuff. So
I don't know if she actually released it.
She might not have.
Yeah.
I didn't want it influencing anything that I was doing. So
sure, yeah, that's why
I was pretty much ignoring it. Yeah. It's going to take a decade to do all the 90s music. No, we're not doing that. Luna Girl says she's going to drop the playlist tonight before midnight.
All right.
So she is on top of that shit.
And I mean, the beauty of this one, especially this year, is because again, we're now in the 30th anniversary of 1992. So even though we are going to talk about 93, 94, this playlist in particular has a lot of meaning because these songs are going to have this anniversary for this whole next year.
Yep.
So you're going to be hearing about it a lot. Like, oh, these songs are all 30 years old.
Yeah.
So
ad nauseum.
More than any of our other playlists, this one will be pretty important.
Yeah. So can I do shout outs?
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm going to go out of sequence here because
you rebel.
I'm so good at reading, as I proved earlier, that I'm going to read out of order. God damn it. For not drinking, I'm still not able to fucking enunciate properly. I don't understand what the fuck is going on.
I miss drinking on the show so much.
Anyway,
I can't wait to get healthy and be able to drink again, and then get liver disease again, and then just keep the cycle going.
Yeah. Well, that's I will join you. I'm going to reiterate the shout outs from the first part of the show because I think it's important, and I want our Red 5 family to know that we're thinking of them. We want to shout out the Backyard TARDIS, who reviewed several of our episodes on BYT Random Thoughts podcast number 11. Also shout out to Chuck Fisher, aka Joker Voice, for his kind words at the beginning of Book of Boba Fett chapter 3, Mr. J's Funhouse.
Didn't you already say that?
I did. I said that in the beginning of the show, and I'm repeating it, hence all that bullshit I said in the beginning. You can find Backyard TARDIS and Joker Voice on YouTube. Give them a sub. And a third shout out to Alan from Press Play Streaming Studios for our amazing intro. The compliments continue to pour in, and we love it. And I have another video that I need to play. I just need to get reminded to do that, Luna Girl, please. More Red 5 stuff. We will have a new podcast addition to the Red 5 Network. Announcement is coming this week. Stay tuned for all the socials. We also want to congratulate Salty Nerd Podcast, who reached 4,000 subscribers on YouTube last week. Holy shit. Congrats. 4,000 subscribers. That's fucking awesome.
Nice.
After our show at 20:30 or 8:30 p.m. Eastern for you civilians, some of the ladies of Red 5 are hosting a celebration of life. A celebration of the life of Betty White. Oh, very cool. Catch Nicole from Rogue One Radio, Chantal from Scarif Podcast and Press Play Streaming Studios, Amanda from Galaxy of Queers, and our own Luna Girl over at Galaxy Queers Podcast on YouTube. At 2200, 10 p.m. Eastern, WSTR Media will be conducting a Imperial inspection of Darth Vader with special guest Ro from the Scarif Podcast. Finally, for you insomniacs on the East Coast, check out Salty Nerd Podcast at midnight, where Salty will be discussing the anime Primal. Subscribe to all these pods on YouTube and hop in their live chats. And it's not in here, but you can go and find all of the Red 5 Network at... What is it? It's not Bitly. Shit, what's the link? Damn it. I
don't know what you're talking about.
I don't either. I see the problem. The problem with relying on reading is I don't remember stuff anymore. It's kind of like the your cell phone. All your numbers are in your cell phone now, so now you don't have to remember them. So like a website link, like the one for the Red 5 network, I don't remember it, even though I've said it probably 100 times.
Right.
I don't remember it, and Lunar Girl didn't put it in the notes. So
you have to put it on the teleprompter.
Yeah.
Like if you want him to read it, you got to put it on the teleprompter.
Yeah, it's not your fault, it's my fault because I'm stupid.
Yeah.
But anyway. So Cantina Family Happenings, the Use and Abuse podcast, you probably put it in the chat and I'm not paying attention. Use and Abuse podcast will be covering the movie Time After Time on Tuesday. Join Scott and Kim in the live chat at 1900. That's 7 p.m. Eastern time on the YouTubes. Thank goodness that they're doing normal fucking times. They had this
and not 5 a.m.
Not 5 a.m. fucking podcasts and let's get up at 3 a.m. and do a podcast and then do another one at 7 at night. I mean, I would imagine. First of all, could you imagine us trying to do some shit like that?
Oh hell no!
There's no fucking way. There's no way. It's bad. It's keeping you up till 9 o'clock at night is a fucking stretch.
Mm-hmm. Like I'm already in my head thinking about like bedtime.
I'm sure
over the next like half hour.
For blah 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 blah. Anyway, Use and Abuse pod at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Be there or be square. ATSW Escape Pod will be reviewing the Book of Boba Fett chapters 1 through 3 on Wednesday. Join Don Della Snooch, Brady Big Lovin', Don Della Snooch, Brady Big Lovin', and Dragon Buddy in their live chat on YouTube for fun and shenanigans. I think we're doing Book of Boba Fett
next week. We're doing chapters 3 and 4 next week.
3 and 4. And I haven't watched chapter 3 yet. So I'm doing 3 and 4 together.
I cannot wait to hear your response to chapter 3.
Fair enough. The Orange and Fett Show.
That's going to be a fun discussion.
The Orange and Fett Show released extra episode - Orange Jacket Guy's. I don't know why I read the dash. Extra episode Orange Jacket Guy's birthday last week. Happy birthday, Orange Jacket Guy.
Yeah.
Subscribe to them on Spotify and give it a listen and be notified of upcoming releases. Sweet Studio celebrated the release of Nirvana cover On a Plane by hosting a pre-show live stream with Luna Girl this past Saturday. Check out the replay on YouTube and learn some big Swede fun facts on the why and how of making this song. Follow him on Discord and Instagram for future updates. He did that. He put together that one video and he played all of it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he played the bass, the guitar, the drums, the whole fucking and did the vocals. Did the whole fucking
sweet,
thing.
Man.
Dude,
that's talent.
It is. I applaud it. It's fucking amazing. It's so cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's you practice and you get better at shit like that or whatever, but there is some point where like you have to have
to have it.
You have to have God-given talent to fucking be able to get to that point.
Indeed.
As far as us,
hey,
we are on Getter, which I haven't looked at in a minute, but
yeah. Well, and apparently Joe Rogan's already like saying fuck Getter because I guess they did something to piss him off. And
whatever. So whatever. Getter, Twitter, Sidebar Cantina.
Yeah. We're everywhere, fucker.
But on Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, Discord, we are at the Sidebar Cantina. Mainly Instagram. Instagram where is that?
Mm-hmm.
On Facebook, our main Facebook page is the Sidebar Cantina. If you want to join our private Facebook group, you can find it. There's a link to it on our page.
Should be. Yep.
And if you're listening to us, you can now find our... Did she put something in there? No, she didn't. On our Facebook page, if you're looking on your phone, you can actually see the podcast pops right up on there once the RSS feed posts. So very, very cool. Good stuff. at the Sidebar Cantina. For merch, you can click in the link tree on any of our social media bios to find our merch. It will take you directly to TeePublic, where you can find t-shirts, hoodies, and a wide variety of designs, sizes, and colors for the entire family. There are also Sidebar Cantina face masks, tote bags, phone cases, exclusive stickers, and pins. Just about anything you can imagine. Please tag us with your merch so Luna Girl can share it on the socials. Reviews! Do we have any reviews?
We don't. I just checked.
Reviews! Right! I'll say 5-star review on the favorite podcasting app. Screenshot it and DM us the pic on Instagram or Twitter. You can write us one sentence or an entire page, whatever your heart desires. Luna Girl will gladly send you some Sidebar Cantina stickers in the mail the next day. And we will read your review word for word on the next episode. As an added bonus, if you post your Apple review on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook now, because you can post a review on Facebook, and tag us
Why are you hollering?
because it's capitalized. And at Red 5 Network, you can also get an official Red 5 Network button pin. And that is it for the reads.
All right. So next week, as you talked about, we're back to Book of Boba Fett. We're doing chapters 3 and 4. Oh, it's going to be such a fun discussion. The week after that, January 31st, that is the Patreon selected topic. It's more than likely going to be an old movie. We're going to do one final Patreon poll to decide which movie we're going to do. And then you, our loyal patrons, will decide our January 31st topic. After that, February 7th, for a Star Wars podcast day, we are finally going to do a topic that we have been talking about forever. We are going to talk about Star Wars. We're going to call it Star Wars astronomy, but we're going to get into the galactic map, the layout, the astrophysics of Star Wars, the astronomy, and everything therein. And it's going to be a unique discussion, I think.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can do it justice. I'm going to start doing my research now, honestly.
Yeah, and you know what? Let's make I want to obviously when we're talking about Star Wars these days, I mean everything's canonical, right? So there's stuff in the High Republic that's happening that's kind of expansive into the Outer Rim and parts like that. So that's obviously going to be something to bring into the research. I think part of studying astronomy and doing a research topic like this is making some theoretical assumptions.
Yes, I have a lot of theories of my own.
Right. So I really want to fucking explore some of that.
Yeah. And I'm going to bring a lot of that to the table myself.
Yeah.
And I welcome, you to bring that too, because, a lot of it, we can only really make comparisons to what we know. And I'm going to be bringing a lot of comparisons from, the actual real world and a lot of what I've learned about astronomy and different aspects of the universe and the galaxy.
Yeah. Bronco Fett brings up a point about hyperspace in this latest Thrawn book, which I haven't finished yet. But
is this the third book in that new trilogy?
The third one.
I don't think I'll have time to get through all those.
What's interesting, you bring that up, and something I was telling you about that article about warp drive and practical application of fucking faster than light travel.
Yeah,
that an Embry-Riddle graduate fucking had posted about. Which the paper, by the by, is way over my fucking head. Leaps and bounds. The math in there is fucking ridiculous. So I don't really understand it. But it's interesting.
Yeah.
Right? It's interesting. And it promotes a different level of thinking. And I'm more than willing to apply some of that to some Star Wars bullshit.
Hell yeah.
So... it'll be a very ethereal fucking episode, and there'll be a lot of Star Wars nonsense in it because it's us and we'll be bullshitting. And that's what we do. It's our thing.
So that's our schedule over the next month or so. And then, of course, Wayne's World on February 14th. So that's it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We've been going for a long time, so we're just going to go ahead and stop. Stick around for the after show that is going to be brief. Because somebody's got to get to bed because he's got to get to work tomorrow. And yeah, but it was fun. So we'll see you all next week. Thank you, everybody. And until next time, go fuck yourself.
Okay, now what do I click?
And scene.
We'll save the singing of Wayne's World for the Wayne's World episode.
Yes.
I will be doing all the singing.
Yeah, I intentionally avoided a lot of Wayne's World talk this episode because I want to save that for the movie episode.
Oh, there'll be so much Wayne's Worlding. Oh my god.
Party time, excellent. Like it's hard to even put into words like how big that was for our age group at the time. Like that was made for us, you know.
It was the first movie I saw multiple times in a movie theater.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was the first one.
That's great.
And like, besides a Star Wars movie, like, because even Star Wars movies, like, I couldn't go to my parents and be like, "Hey, let's go see this again."
Right.
It just wasn't really a thing. But when this came out, being that particular age and like friends going to movies and stuff like that, it's like, "Hey, can I have money? I want to go see Wayne's World again with my friends."
Mm-hmm.
And getting the opportunity to go and see it multiple times. Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about it a lot. And it's going to be fucking great. Yeah, I can't wait.
And I can't believe it's been 30 fucking years.
It's pretty bonkers.
Yeah.
It really is. But, you know, that's how time works.
Mm-hmm.
We're riding this gravity wave on through until we figure out how to stop it.
Yeah, like how did Ferris put it? Time moves pretty fast.
Right. Don't stop and look around.
Might miss it.
Exactly. Costumes. I may or may not be looking for a Wayne's World hat. I've had two in my life.
Yeah.
I don't know where the second one went. The second one I've had more recently in my current domicile, and I don't know what happened to it.
I don't think I can get a hold of a stringy blonde wig.
I'm sure you can. Get you some drumsticks.
I've got them over there in the corner.
Get some holy jeans. Like, you've got the glasses.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, all right. Well, we got to find me a wig.
Black t-shirts. Like,
Plenty of those.
I'll have a black t-shirt. So we'll figure it out.
Party on, Wayne.
We'll figure it out. Party on, gosh. Yeah, right.
I love you, Dream Woman.
Oh my god, it's gonna be great. All right, so let's sign off. It's been a 3-hour episode.
Yeah. Whew. Glad you all stuck around though.
Yeah,
It was a good time. A lot of interaction in the chat again. So
as always, thank you. You're the best. And I managed to get through an entire episode with no snaps.
I snapped twice.
When
we went to break, and then when I talked about the Patreon.
Oh, I left to pee.
Yeah. Well, no, you were dicking around with the monitor that you fucking unplugged when you backed out in a hurry.
It's the cable. Something happened to the cable. Like the.
Way to go.
Like it's dicked right here.
Like you fucked the cable itself?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's an Amazon Basic fucking cable, and it's kinked right there. So it's fucked.
Good job, Dave.
Yeah. Whatever.
All right. We're ending the stream. See you guys later.
Peace out.